Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 7th episode of the Neon Crew podcast. I am Kyle.
And I'm Mac.
Hey, how's it going? How's it going?
Hey, it's good.
That's my Joe Swanson.
Yeah.
You like that?
Hey, how you doing over there?
Hey, McClain. Hey, did you ever see Wes Anderson?
Yeah. Can we do a disclaimer, like just to get it out of the way? We had a friend that was on the podcast that likes Wes Anderson films. Thinking of you.
Hey, Gideon.
Yeah, don't take anything we say in the wrong light.
Yeah. This will be an interesting conversation.
It will be. I'm not tiptoeing. Well, maybe, I don't know. We'll find out.
Tiptoes. Wow, we gotta watch that, right? That Matthew McConaughey movie with a bunch of little people.
Oh yeah, no, I was thinking about it. The one where he went deaf and could only write with his feet.
No, it's the movie with Gary Oldman in the role of a lifetime.
This is a real thing.
Yeah, this is a real movie.
Wow.
It's awful, and it's Gary Oldman pretending to be a little person. Mm-hmm. So all like the shots of him standing, he's basically on his knees.
Oh yeah,
and
Dwarf on Golf.
There's a scene where he's on a couch and they literally cut a hole in the couch and have him like crouch down in it and then put fake legs in front of him.
Is this a Timothy Burton film?
I don't remember who directed it, but it's kind of infamous. So I feel like
there was is it Door? It's Door or Dwarf on Golf. My grandma used to have these like films, and this guy would do the same. He'd be on his knees and he'd put shoes down there and he'd walk around, and it's kind of like a comedy thing.
Interesting.
I think it was for the older generation.
I was gonna say, when did that movie come out?
Probably in the 80s.
I was gonna say the Tiptoes, I think, is like 2004. I feel like, yeah. If you watch the trailer, it's got like the voiceover thing, like Gary Oldman in a role of a lifetime. And it's pretty funny.
Did Matthew McConaughey like get drunk one night and like almost fall off a building or something and had like a come to Jesus moment? It was like, what am I doing with my career?
Yeah. He was like, I got to get really skinny, and then then he was in that AIDS movie.
Yeah, well, it first started out with True Detective.
Was that before Dallas Buyers Club? Oh
God, it was right around the same time. I probably shouldn't go off. They're so close.
Yeah,
because True Detective came out in 2013/14, and Dallas Buyers Club was like right around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying True Detective came first, but we'll never know.
I still need to watch that. My mom has the DVD, and she's watched it.
Dallas
before.
Buyers Club?
No.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, maybe in the future, but no. True Detective.
True Detective is it. One of the it went from like the best show I've ever seen to season 2 coming out, and someone just taking a freaking rifle to my heart.
Oh yeah, that's what I've heard.
And then season 3, I don't know what that guy did. I don't know why I don't know. So confusing, the decisions he makes.
Yeah, if I ever decide to watch it one day, we'll have to talk about it.
For sure.
Because I do want to watch the first season at least.
Oh, it's the best. It's standalone.
Yeah, and I like the fact that they're not related season to season. You know, it's not like a continuous storyline.
Well, you feel bad. I feel bad for the creator of it, because he's the only one that's like really judged. Mm-hmm. You know, like Dexter comes out. Dexter season, they're like, oh, seasons 1 through 3 are great, and then it kind of goes downhill. And they're all intertwined, so it kind of tarnishes the whole show. Kind
of like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, well, not to that extent, but close, because I think Game of Thrones only had like one bad episode out of 10 years or however long it was around.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but yeah.
I know, people are sour.
Yeah, some of my friends are those people. But yeah, I guess we can get into French Dispatch.
You want to just dive into it?
I kind of do.
Off the diving board?
Yeah, I feel like there's a decent amount to say about it. So you and I saw it in theaters, which is funny because that's the first movie we saw in theaters together ever. Like, you and I have not gone to the movies together before that.
No, the whole thing has blossomed into what it is, into 7 fantastic episodes, and yet that's the first one. And I will say, I mean,
this was all a ploy to get you to go with me, right?
Yeah,
this podcast. I just really wanted you to go to the movies with me.
Yeah, see the French Dispatch.
Yeah.
You had it circled from 5 years ago when it got in production.
I was like, oh man, I hope he loves Wes Anderson. Then he'll love me.
And there it is, the 7th and final episode of the podcast.
No, Mac, he doesn't love me.
Yeah, so.
But yeah, we saw it together in theaters. It was pretty not packed. There was like maybe 5 other people in there.
Yeah.
Like 3 other couples and like some dude in the front who like was pretty loud at the start of it, and I was worried that he was gonna be loud throughout the whole thing.
Is he rummaging through popcorn or
I think
candy?
I don't know what he was doing. He was making some noise.
Man, he couldn't find something. I know that much.
Yeah,
like you only hear rats do that.
It's like he lost a nickel in his popcorn, and he was like scurrying through it.
Yeah, I was about to say he didn't eat dinner, and like that last piece was to complete the meal.
Yeah. He speed ran that bucket.
I was. That, and then there was the other person doing like the kept doing that. It was there was a couple.
Was he like clearing his throat?
Yeah, he was getting like uncomfortably comfortable.
Oh,
you know when people do that where they're like, I'm just gonna stretch my shit out.
He's like kicking his feet up. And
yeah, I'm at home right now. There's only 6 other people in here.
Like raising his arms above his head.
Yep. That I was kind of concerned that there was gonna be some shenanigans.
Corporate boss style.
Yeah. So anyway, do you want to take? I want to do the summary of the next one. So you want to do the synopsis or?
I'll do this one.
All right.
So this movie is directed by Wes Anderson, of course, and it's about a newspaper company that is called the French Dispatch, and essentially, the head of the company, played by Bill Murray, passes away. So they decide to make like one last tribute issue before the newspaper shuts down, because in the will, he stipulates that after he passes away, the newspaper is to shut down immediately. And so they cobble together all these different stories that different writers for the paper worked on, and those stories, you get to watch them play out on screen, because they are all like these different like short stories that play throughout. There's 3 of them. There's one where it's the first one where like this painter is in prison, and this art dealer comes across him, and he's trying to buy like his art from him, but he's also like deranged. And then the second story has Timothée Chalamet. He's like a young revolutionary who is trying to write a manifesto. And then the third story is about this police chief who has like this world-renowned chef, but his son gets like the police chief's son gets kidnapped, and they have to use the chef and other different elements to like try and rescue him from kidnappers because he's trying to be extorted. And then essentially that's pretty much the whole movie, with like interweavings of like the newspaper story between. It's very much an anthology movie, and it's like there's there's loose relations, but each story is its own story, and it's definitely a Wes Anderson style movie. So,
oh my god!
So what did you think of it?
It was all right. Like I don't have. I've heard some people talking about it, and one of the ones is it's the most Wes Anderson movie that Wes Anderson's made.
Yeah,
and I don't know if that's like a trend going forward, where he's just got to outdo himself.
I think it's just like people are starting to finally like kind of see a formula to it. Like it's starting to become a little formulaic in the movies that he makes, because if you go from like Royal Tenenbaums to French Dispatch and like all those movies in between, I feel you can definitely see a sort of like progression into like this very much like routine style that he has, which isn't a bad style at all, I don't think.
No, it's quirky. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, this one is like, for some reason I keep thinking about like The Life Aquatic, and
naturally,
and like I relate it to this one. I don't know why. It's some of the art design, the craft, the creativity behind it I really liked. Mm-hmm. The production, the I don't even know if you want to call them sets. I mean, how he'll take like a miniature. He'll take like it probably is like a miniature house or a miniature apartment complex. I'm thinking about the kid that was going up the steps.
Yeah, that was a cool shot.
Yeah, and it's either, I mean, he either finds a real place or he builds a production set to, you know, for that, to scale it and go up it, and just probably nothing behind it. So I really like the production value behind it, or the production sets. But it's just...
It's yeah, it can feel like a very stale style after a while. Like I can easily see how it would get on somebody's nerves if they weren't like attuned to it, or I guess like appreciative of it, because I guess appreciative is like the wrong word, but I think I had like the same feeling that you did when it comes to the Royal Tenenbaums and Life Aquatic specifically, because those movies I'll admit are like on kind of like my lower end of Wes Anderson movies. A lot of people enjoy those movies, but to me, a lot of the characters are written the same, and the stories in each of those movies are essentially like the same story. It's about an old guy who's trying to find redemption in some kind of way in the eyes of like his friends and family, and the movie's just about him trying to like find some sort of sense of purpose or redemption, and struggling to do so. Meanwhile, like him and all the characters around him feel like they're written by Wes Anderson, which after a while can get kind of grating. Especially when the runtime is like, what, 2.5 hours or something?
Well, in this one too, I felt like, I mean, like you said, anthology, I thought that's like a great way to talk about it. I mean, I just thought these were like a series of vignettes almost. I mean, each of these stories would be a great 30-minute piece, like a short film. Like if you took
that's basically what they were.
Exactly, but you strung them together over 2.5 hours. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I'll take the 30 minutes. Like I think I enjoyed a little bit of all of them.
Okay.
Not to the point where it was the whole I'm thinking of like a cake. Like you take a bite of like a piece of cake, and you're like, it's just a variety cake. You know, grab a slice and you're like, half of that slice was good, the other half sucked, but you still have to eat the whole cake.
Yeah.
You know? So I mean, it's not there's just, it's not I mean, it wasn't a total picture.
Yeah. The bride made the cake for you, so if you don't like it, she's going to be upset. Her wedding day is ruined.
Yeah.
That's how it works, right? The bride makes the cake in weddings.
That's how it should. I mean,
Jesus.
Wait, what? Who? No. So I mean, I'm trying to think exactly. I mean, it was a little quirky. I really like a lot of his shots. That's the hard. Like I said, like the sets.
Yeah.
And some of the ways that he directs, and some of the animations that he'll throw in there. Or he's got some unique shots that he'll throw in there, along with some of the production design. So you really appreciate that, but like you say, the characters are stale. I mean, I don't think I cared about any of them really at any point, and I don't know if you're supposed to.
Yeah, there were definitely some stories that I enjoyed more. Like I liked the first and the third one a decent amount, like the prison story and the cop story. But I felt like Timothée Chalamet's story, while it wasn't bad, I think it was definitely like the weakest of the three.
I couldn't,
at least in my opinion.
Well, so I'm trying to. I get frustrated too. So you have the French Dispatch. That's in Kansas, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what I was trying to pick up, and I'm like, but they're doing stories about the French.
I think so.
Okay, so
that was the vibe that I got.
Okay, so that's the quirkiness that it was like, hey, how crazy is it that we're gonna take a French newspaper, put it in rural America, but talk about what's happening in France.
Yeah, I think that's definitely like in line with Wes Anderson, because he's very quirky and specific like that.
That's what I'm saying. So I mean, it's kind of humorous to him, like that. You have to find the humor. I think if you could laugh at that every time, like you pull yourself out of a story happening or what's going on, and you can go, oh man, that's kind of funny. Like how absurd is that Kansas is talking about what's happening in France? I mean, that if you can do that and have a giggle at that every time, you'll be able to get through the film. But after that, I mean, if you're just watching it and holding it on its own, you're like, why? I don't know. I never got the why.
Yeah.
Which is funny because, so did you have any takeaways from it? Was there any moments that you think that you could put in a time capsule for yourself that if you got like 5 years down the road, you'd remember, oh yeah, like that was kind of like an important question or an important something that you could use in conversation? Bring up maybe some philosophical points or, I mean, just really in it, because there were actually a couple in this that I appreciated.
I think the biggest thing for me was the painting story.
Okay.
Because it comments a lot about art and what artists are and like what they do, like the importance of the art that they make and how like over exaggerated it can become, because essentially Benicio del Toro's character, who's the painter, is like crazy. Yeah. And he like makes these paintings, and it has something to say about the fact that because he's crazy, it almost makes the paintings that he makes worth more. And it's kind of like that notion of like, you're not an artist unless you're like super broken in some way. and I
think they even mentioned that in the at some point. Yeah.
And that whole thing just felt like sort of a satire or like a commentary on art in general, and like how we view art and how we view like the artists who make them, which I thought was kind of cool. I liked that angle of it, especially when you get to see like the paintings that he makes and like the color comes in, and you know, you could argue that like the stuff that he creates is not entirely abstract. You know, he essentially like takes a model of like a naked woman and paints inspired based by her. So like the painting will just kind of like from the outside just like look like this blob, basically. Yeah. Like this red and purple blob with like an orange background or something. But if you like look closely, you can kind of see the different positions that she takes on, especially like in that big old mural of paintings. Yep. So there is something to like the actual art itself, but there's also like the commentary on like artists like sanity or insanity, or like the I guess exploitation of mental illness for commercial purposes. So I don't know.
That's that was like a good one, but that seems like super niche. I don't really.
Well, have you seen Wes Anderson?
It's a satire on himself.
Yeah.
Brody's a production house.
His first story was a cry for help.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He was Benicio del Toro.
Yeah. And the naked chick was all his films.
Yeah. Right. Dude, you nailed it.
Yeah. Got it.
But yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed this movie a decent amount. Like, I would not say it's my favorite Wes Anderson at all. There are movies that he's made that I enjoy significantly more. Like, for sure. Like Moonrise, Darjeeling Limited, Grand Budapest. Like, those are probably like my top three that I've seen. Fantastic Mr. Fox is up there too. I still haven't seen Isle of Dogs. And I haven't seen a couple of his like really early stuff, like Rushmore or Bottle Rocket.
Right.
Like those ones I haven't had the chance to check out yet. But I would say I would like, in terms of like a placement, I'd probably put it like above Royal Tenenbaums and Life Aquatic for me at least, and then below all those other movies that I listed that I've seen. I don't know what your placement would be, like if it's at like the very bottom or like.
No, I don't. His films, I don't really have a. I have such a hard time because it's not they're not intertangled, but they all kind of feel the same. Like, I mean, I don't know. I think in my head, I kind of just put it like I put them like on a shelf. Like I just, they're in a box on a shelf like that. You pull out that Wes Anderson cereal box, you're not getting a variety pack. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's just how I feel. I think that he has a little bit more, sometimes either satirical or just his sense of humor in some of them. Yeah. Or depending on how they kind of hit you at that whatever mood they might be like a mood movie, depending on where you're at. But like, stale's a great word. Some of the characters are just so dry.
Well, I noticed it in the writing specifically because after a while, you notice that like they all sound like they're written like
100%.
And movies that like don't do that, like I don't know, like I feel like sometimes Quentin Tarantino can kind of sometimes fall in that, like especially when characters start monologuing, but essentially like a lot of the characters that he writes, they all have like distinct personalities and like different backstories, and the performances like are so varied, whereas like the movies that he makes, more often than not, the characters can feel like they're essentially there to like spout witty, creative dialogue, and like have these quips that they fire back and forth to each other, just to like progress the story. But essentially, like their emotions are like the same. You know, they kind of have like this weird stoicism about them, and it's meant to be like kind of quirky, but it kind of comes across as like almost robotic sometimes. Yeah. And I can definitely like see how people would get sick of that. I'm certainly kind of sick of it in a lot of the stuff that he has, but there is some stuff of his that I think is varied enough. Like Grand Budapest, I think, has enough variety of character and personality to differentiate it from his other movies. And Moonrise has that, and I think Darjeeling is really good with that too.
Yeah, I'd have to see. So I've only seen like 4 or 5 Wes Anderson films now that we're going through it. Mm-hmm. So I don't really know. For me in this, I mean, in terms of a movie as a whole, you know, probably it would be one that it's probably good. I think it's a decent film, but probably one that I won't be talking about in 3 years. Yeah. Like I think if we start talking about The French Dispatch when I'm,
like I don't think I have an urge to like rewatch it. At least not right now. I mean, maybe in the future, like years down the road.
If there was anything, it would be. Remember Benicio in that Wes Anderson film? Oh, we should watch that. Like that's how I feel about it. Like if I'm gonna watch that, it's probably gonna be for like a certain scene or a certain story.
I was gonna say like one specific story.
Yeah.
Like if I could watch the police story by itself, I think that'd be like a really good standalone short film. Which I think was like, I don't know, it felt like that was kind of his goal. Is like Wes Anderson just woke up one day and was like, I want to make short films, but I'm known as like a feature-length filmmaker. What do? Oh, I make this anthology movie, basically.
It's so hard because I mean, it feels almost like he's just, hey, I know what I can do. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have people that are gonna show up, so I'm gonna kind of rewrite the like a nonlinear storyline or a storyline that goes this way, or like you say, 3 short stories that are broken up, put into one. I mean, it does have a newspaper type of vibe if you think about it. I mean, it does fit in with I
think it helps that everything's black and white for the most part too.
Yeah, I mean, it's well done. I mean, the guy's creative. I'm not taking anything away from him. Yeah. I just don't know if it really speaks to me. But there were 2. One of the scenes that happened. I don't know if I want to talk about the chef scene or not.
Oh yeah, we can talk about it.
Well, because there was one at the very end of the film when he eats the poison. You remember that?
Yep.
And then they're kind of going on, and why'd you eat it? And he was going over the taste and the smell.
I never tasted anything like that before.
Well, and he goes, I'm 45. You only have so many more new experiences lined up in your life, And he goes, he essentially was risking death to experience something new, which is it's just crazy to think about. But I always laugh at that because, I mean, they talk about your world getting watered down by the time you reach a certain age, Mm-hmm. And it's always one of those I mean, that's why you got like the movies like The Bucket List or whatever, because, coming of age when you're 75.
Oh, Jesus.
But I thought that was really, I always appreciate those moments when guys talk about those new experiences because, I mean, as you go along, you only have so many more firsts, And then the other one was, the writer. I can't remember his name.
Timothy Chalamet?
No, the African-American writer. He's in...
in the police story?
Yeah. I can't remember his name. He's such a fantastic actor, too.
I will look him up while you...
Yeah, but he had the great... he had the great quote of, don't ever ask a man why. At the philosophical core, why is the meaning of existence? Why are we here? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? You never ask a man why. You feel like you're like antagonizing or discrediting his work or wanting to know, what else he could have done. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's a great way to think about it, because I don't know. I mean, I don't really, in everyday life, if you think about it, do you ever have anyone that asks you why? It's also on the flip side of things too, because they say don't ever ask a man that, but in reality, how many times do you actually really ask someone else why?
Jeffrey Wright is the actor's name.
Yes.
In the
fantastic. He was in
Police Story.
Westworld too. That's, I think, the first time I really got a dose of him.
I have not seen Westworld.
That's another HBO series.
Is that like the robot one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I heard that Aaron Paul is in it in like the third season.
I got in halfway through season 2.
Okay.
That show's based off of a movie.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah,
from the 70s, I want to say.
You'll have to let me know how the third season is, because I heard our boy Aaron Paul is in it.
I don't know if I'm gonna see. I might see that. I got catching up to do. I got things people tell me to watch. This, that, and the other. I mean, it's insane. It's crazy time for movies right now.
It's
crazy,
crazy time.
Wes Anderson's coming out with new shit. It's crazy.
Wes Anderson's dropping in a new hot one right in your face,
dude. So those were the two things I will say probably from this movie that I will remember going throughout. Well, maybe not so much the chef, because the first time I ever heard it was from her about the new experiences, but posing the question why in casual conversation.
Yeah.
I think it's a double-edged sword. I really do. And I think it's one of the strongest questions that you could probably ask, another person. I mean, imagine going down the street and running into something about don't get McDonald's and asking that person why. It's a loaded question, right?
Right.
And you're questioning that person's, own perspective, judgments, morals, whatever you want to tangle up in there on something simple. So that one will probably stick with me for a while.
Okay. Yeah. So, I like the chef story a lot too. I can't decide whether or not that one's my favorite or the painter one.
They're both. I mean,
I think they're both good.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, like they're about the same for me. I had just as much entertainment from both of them. I think I had more chuckles out of the chef one, or out of the painter one with Benicio. But
I really liked Adrian Brody's character.
Yeah,
I think he's a great actor, and I think given the
stale,
stale. Oh, you think he's stale?
Well, they're all stale, but they are. There is some comical.
I think
forces behind it.
I was gonna say, I think him specifically, I like, because he's so charismatic, but like kind of dry at the same time. I think that sort of like characterization works for him specifically.
Yeah.
When you like apply it to every actor in the movie is when it gets dry and stale.
Yes.
Like a bag of potato chips.
Well, that's the problem that you have. Like, can you hold them? How do you hold them in a vacuum when the whole movie, all the characters are the same? Like, how do you pluck them out and just say, for you? But I do agree. I mean, out of all of the actors to do that, he was by far the best at doing that. I think he carried that first, the painter story.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think he was 100% the driving force for why I enjoyed it.
Yes, agreed.
So, was there anything else you wanted to talk? Did you notice? I don't know if like you noticed this. I definitely noticed it.
What's that?
I don't know if it's happened in his other movies, and I just didn't realize it before this one. But I noticed it in this one, and he has like a few shots in it that aren't like his weird symmetrical style, or like that weren't really like consistent with everything else going on. Like the scene where Adrian Brody figures out that the paintings are like all in the concrete wall, and he gets upset about it. He like walks over to Benicio del Toro, who's in the wheelchair, and it goes from like this very still, like symmetrical, like close-up shot of his face to like a weird, almost documentary style, like over the shoulder, like handheld shot when he's like following Adrian Brody going up to Benicio del Toro. Like it was interesting, and like that was like a shot that you could find in almost any movie, like besides a Wes Anderson movie.
Right, but he chose sticks out.
Yeah, it sticks out because it's so different from all the other stuff. And there was another scene, it's when in the Timothy Chalamet story, where he's like talking to the young girl because she's not happy with like the manifesto while they're like playing the chess game or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like the old journalist comes up. I mean, I say old, but she's like middle-aged. But essentially, like the three of them like get in an argument. And I noticed that a lot of the shots in that one, too, were very like not Wes Anderson's style, typically. Like, I don't know if you noticed it, but I feel like I did with this movie. And it's the only movie that I've noticed it with. But
really?
I don't know if it's like him trying to like try out different things. I mean, this movie at times felt like he had like ideas that he wanted to do, but he didn't want to implement it in like a feature length and like risk ruining the whole thing. So he was like, let's just try it in like these short stories, like the animation in the cop story, which I thought was decent. Like I thought that was a good use of it. Yeah.
Well, and he doesn't. I mean, he just. Yeah. Go on. Sorry.
But like a lot of the times, this movie felt like Wes Anderson would have a quirky new idea and be like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. Let's like sprinkle it in this specific spot." And just have it there. I mean, not have it anywhere else.
If I had to guess, I mean, if I had to guess that the cop chase scene, because while watching it, I was like, oh, this is pretty nifty. This is, if you're watching Taken, that's a scene where there's 97 different shots of a truck going 5 miles an hour, but making it look like it's going 50.
Liam Neeson jumping over a fence.
Yeah.
That video is great, man. I don't care what you say.
12 seconds of Liam Neeson getting over the fence.
I counted one time. It's 15 frames over 13 seconds.
Yeah.
Like it's like almost half a frame a second.
So you're burning time. Like that's all you're doing. It's like, how do we fill up more of this film? Because I said I have to get to. So I mean, like for Wes Anderson, I think he did a creative approach to it where he said, well, we're obviously not going to do a chase scene, but there is a chase going on. How can I make this Wes Anderson-y? So I mean, I think it's probably between animation and doing puppets. Like if I had to, or claymation, like if he had to go one route. The other two, though, no, I didn't notice that, but just from you talking about it, I think, and it actually kind of makes more sense. You talk about these films being kind of, put into like a tin can, kind of like a factory film, where everything is emotionless. You get those raw emotions that he's showing. He's showing us, you talk about, because I know that when he approached Benicio, Brody was pissed off.
Yeah.
So it's a different shot, probably representing his, that his emotions, like Brody's, we're going into kind of him as a character and how, it's a different look, perspective on how he's feeling at that time. Yeah. And then I think the way you say it too, with the other three, they're in an argument.
That's true.
Which they were kind of all showing. Well, two of them were showing emotion. One was depicting what emotions were being depicted, which was kind of, it. Wes Anderson, gotta love him.
Yeah. That's a good point too. Is like those are moments of contention, and the handheld and the different like shot styles kind of like represent the sort of unease in the situation.
Yeah.
Whereas like usually when things are going well, it's like pretty symmetrical. Everything's orderly. Everything looks neat.
Maybe that's why Wes Anderson does it too. I never even thought about that, but the way you're talking, I mean, symmetrical, it's a great way. It is a way to tame the audience.
It kind of leads you into like what to expect.
I mean, well,
like certain situations.
Yeah, I guess if you're picking up, because I guess I don't even think about it because I'm in my own world when I'm watching these things. But if you think, you walk into a room, there's obviously going to be two types of probably levels of comfort that you're going to be at. If you walked into a room where everything was symmetrical, laid out, probably easy for you to adjust. As opposed to if
depends on how organized it is. If everything's like too organized, I might be a little uneasy.
Exactly. Well, probably it's like it's a little too perfect.
Yeah. Like
well,
the pencils are a little too perfectly spaced out.
Maybe that's the point he's playing on the audience. I mean, directors there are with visual effects. I will say I think that there are people that are they're creative, and they like to mess with the audience in certain fashion. So I mean. Because I could bet you if you sat someone else down and I had them watch it, like the way you're talking about it, because there were points where I was uneasy with just the set design, but I didn't even think about like put it symmetric, like just how 90 degrees everywhere you look.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes to say something for him too, which I mean I give a little bit more credit to him or respect for him. Just even think about it right now.
Yeah, he's a great like director as far as like visuals and set designs and everything goes. And
yeah,
for the most part, I enjoy his movies on a story based level and like on a writing level. It's just sometimes he can get a little too comfortable. It feels like
he gets too Wes Anderson-y.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's like, I think he's competing with himself because no one else does what he does.
He's definitely taken that corner of the market when it comes to big budget feature length movies that look like they're like an auteur movie, you know, which is admirable, but it's also like if you're the only one to do it, people can kind of like start to get a little numb to that sort of thing, which I definitely did at points for this one. So,
agreed.
Was there anything else you wanted to say?
That's it. That's all I got. I've actually this fucking guy has already made me swing from like didn't like the film to genius to frickin' like the hell am I talking about here? I'm already thinking about the movie way more than I should be. But no, in terms of, I mean, for me, it was good film. I don't know if I wouldn't have anyone rush out and see it, but like you get a chance if you want to kind of have some thought-provoking moments. Sit down, check it out, and formulate your own opinions.
Yeah. I would say if you love Wes Anderson, you're definitely going to get some enjoyment out of this movie, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a guarantee.
Yeah.
So what would you rate it?
I don't know if I want to go into it. So. Yeah, I would. There will be a rating scale that I will tailor. That'll be dropped. I'm not gonna not do it here yet because thoughts are incomplete. But for me personally, like this would be.
You're not entirely sure yet.
F8 is when I will talk about my rating scale from what you've given me. And that'll be wander into the mind of Mac.
Okay.
Tormented. But no, for me personally, like I'd probably go like just off the linear line of it, probably like a 6.
Okay.
Like I definitely not bad.
Yep.
It's a little bit more juice or meat on the bone to talk about than I had originally thought.
Yeah.
But it's not something that I'm gonna tell people to go check out, like go rush out and see, or even, I mean, if it's on HBO, I'd be like, yeah, I mean, if you want to see some funny stuff, because I think there are moments. It's so hard with 5 fucking different stories in 2.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I'd give it a 6.
Okay, that's very close to what I would give it. I'd give it a 7.
Yeah.
It's definitely a movie that if someone were to come up to me and be like, "Hey, let's go watch French Dispatch," give or take like a few years from now. I would say, okay, yeah, that sounds good. But I would probably rather watch something like Moonrise or Grand Budapest or Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yeah.
I think there are movies that he's done that are better in terms of like variation of character and writing, where the style is not like sacrificed. The style's still there. And so that's pretty much my opinion on it.
Cool.
Yeah. So you had a movie recommendation, movie pick, a film pick.
I did.
This thing has like 3 different names that I cycle through every time. So we both watched Bone Tomahawk by S. Craig Zahler. Do you want to he's turning into like Tarantino. He's going to have, by the time, like when he retires, 10 films that he comes out with. Mm-hmm. And I think all 10 films, I will probably have like a 9 or higher. He's made some, he doesn't have that many movies.
He's got 3.
He's got threes. He's got 3 that he's directed and written, or at least directed himself.
Directed and, I'm pretty sure, and written.
Yeah. I didn't remember if he wrote Cell Block or Drive Across Concrete too.
Maybe I should not peg that down. I would, if I had to say he did, just because watching Bone Tomahawk.
The script feels like he did.
Oh, like 100%.
The characters and the way they talk to each other. It feels like they're written by him. So I'm going to say yes.
So good. So good. So this was a film, I know we talked a little bit about it, but I was at my brother's back in 2015 working on my master's, and I was doing some homework or whatever, and I threw it on because someone told me about this gruesome death scene that you got to check out. It's insane, right? I was like, all right, I'm going to throw it on. I'm watching this film and I was like, I don't remember any of this stuff. I can remember a couple bits and pieces here and there.
Yeah.
Like probably moments that will still stick with me. I'm sure moments that will now stick with you forever.
Oh, for sure.
So I'm watching this and oh my God. So, all right.
You want to give a summary?
Yeah. So the movie starts out with a couple of robbers, right?
Yep.
Not sure what they're hunting for. Probably just on the trail, taking whatever they could to get some money.
I think they were robbers who like murdered their targets, basically.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like that wasn't after they were like after the chupacabra. They weren't after one thing. It just starts out. I mean, that's just kind of the Old West,
Mm-hmm.
And they start to wander a little bit because they hear a gunshot goes off and they can hear someone, like some Indians, some savages, as they call them, starting to tail them. And they stumble across a burial ground and some unfortunate events happen. And then we get to Bright Hope, where the town of where all this kind of takes place. And the drifter, one of the robbers, stumbles into Bright Hope. And questions are raised, right? And in the night, the savages of the burial grounds, Native Americans,
the troglodytes, they call them in the movie.
We'll call them troglodytes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. We'll get to it. Get back to get what they can't, whoever stumbled across their land. And they actually end up taking a Mrs. O'Dwyer, which causes a search party to be formed, and it's a rescue mission.
Yep.
To go get her, and it honestly, that's it.
Yep.
And then
it's very simple.
And then some series of events happen, and that's it. We kind of follow these gentlemen across the Great Plains.
Yeah, it's Kurt Russell is the sheriff, and then Patrick Wilson is the dude whose wife gets kidnapped, and he's also got like a broken leg this whole time.
Underrated Patrick Wilson.
I really like him as an actor. I think he's really good.
So we do. I'll just say right now, me and my brother, we kind of have like guys that have not been like in either like a blockbuster or Oscar nominated, just solid actors.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And we were talking the other day, and we were throwing out names, and Patrick Wilson, before I saw this, almost made that list. I was like, I don't think that dude's been in like a blockbuster where it was him in it. Like he was in
Watchmen. He was Night Owl.
But it wasn't Patrick Wilson is the Watchman.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
like he's an ensemble cast.
It was very ensemble.
There's another one where there was a
I feel like the Conjuring movies are probably like the biggest movies that he's been in recently.
So the first one though, it wasn't even him. It was Vera Farmiga. Yeah. She was the top sell in that Conjuring. I think she was top bill.
Yeah, I recognized her. I haven't seen those movies, admittedly, but in terms of like commercials, I recognized her more than I recognized Patrick Wilson.
So he was in. There was another blockbuster movie that came out about World War II boat. I can't, like the USS Indiana or something. It came out last year, and he's in that, but it's not Patrick Wilson in. So I'm putting him on that. Brother, if you're listening to me, he's on the list now, because that dude, holy shnikes.
Patrick, if you're out there, we love you.
Yeah.
And
shout out Patrick Wilson.
Shout out Patrick Wilson. If you want to be on the podcast, let us know.
Yeah.
Shoot us an email. neoncrewpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, you got that.
That's our business email. But yeah, no, I really like him. I think he's a really good actor. And I really liked his voice in this movie too.
All of them are like
and then what was his name? Jeffrey Rush. He was like the old
Richard Jenkins.
Richard Jenkins, sorry.
Richard Jenkins, yeah. No, they kind of look similar, but he plays he
plays like the old deputy,
like the daft old man that's got. I don't even know if you can't call him wise. He's just kind of
old and he fumbles all the time.
He's a servant of the law.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. He's basically Kurt Russell's sidekick. And then Matthew Fox is like he plays John Bruder. He's like the cowboy ladies man type dude who's like a badass and has killed like all these Native Americans.
Yeah, and he's humble to an effect.
Yeah. The characters are I really like their characterizations because they're very subtle. At least like the first 80% of the movie to me.
Yeah.
And then you get like a sense of like who they are and like their dynamic. Like you get like that wide view of like how they work as a team.
Yes.
And like how they work well together, and also like whenever they like butt heads. And it comes across in like a realistic and believable way.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it was the driving forces, the motivations that they all had. They all had a common goal, but each goal was broken down by a different like emotional variant.
Yeah, like John Bruder has a vendetta against Native Americans because they like killed his mom and his sister in the past. And then Patrick Wilson, he's pure motivation is to get his wife back.
Yep.
And then of course Kurt Russell is, he's a sheriff, so he's got to investigate. He's
protecting the town.
He's protecting the town. He doesn't want the town to be descended on. And then Richard Jenkins is just kind of there behind him.
He's the servant of the law.
Yeah.
He lost his.
Is the opinion of the deputy sheriff?
Boy, we watched the flea circus one time, and Mary Ann was looking at it. She said, they're all dead. I said, no, they're not. They look pretty alive to me, Mary Ann. And I said, you better be quiet in the ears of the performers.
I really liked him.
Oh, my God, dude. It was... And then Bruder, it was just... And their the dialect that they had.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't modern whatsoever. They had a lot of... I mean, I'm going to say, like, old-timey sayings, I guess.
Yeah. But you could still, like... It wasn't like The Lighthouse where
exactly
every phrase was like, all right, I think I know what they're talking about, but it's in such a different like English style that I have to like think about it for a moment.
Yeah.
Like, everything they said was pretty clear to me. And I think it helped too that I was watching this with subtitles because
I did too.
Because my roommate was like working on stuff in the attic, and anytime there was a noise, I'd have to like, So I just had subtitles on just for the sake of clarity basically. But even when I could hear them, I could still like perfectly understand what they were saying.
I mean, it was I don't know, man. The writing was so good in it, and it's such a simple plot.
Yeah, I think
so simple.
S. Craig Zahler, he has a good knack for simple point A to point B stories.
Yes,
that have a lot of like nuance and character and like good writing in it. That I think like the performances and the writing and the dialogue carry it forward. Kind of like what you were saying, almost kind of like Tarantino in a way, which I wholeheartedly agree with. I'm excited to see like more movies that he makes because he does not have a lot under his filmography right now.
No, I think what he does. I mean, if I had to guess, he spends a certain amount of time writing, hammering out the characters, putting it into someone's hands and saying, we got to get these people. This is who I have in mind. And then, I mean, he directs these films, which is crazy. I mean, he got Matthew. This is Matthew Fox's on IMDb, on the IMDb.
It's like his most recent movie.
His last movie.
Yeah.
This came out in 2015.
Yeah.
2014. This is the last thing he was in. And I'm watching this. I was like, Matthew Fox is awesome. How the hell does he make this and then just disappear?
Yeah. I think he's more of a... It's funny that you say that because I was looking at his filmography too, Matthew Fox's, after the movie. And he's mostly in TV. Like, he's mostly a television actor because he was in Lost and then...
Yeah, they still pop that up on IMDb.
Yeah. And then he just does like a bunch of different like TV stuff after that. But it's crazy how that's like his most recent movie. And it's come out like 6 years ago.
I want to see something. What else has he been in? Because I was looking at it last night.
I know he was in Lost. I don't remember much else.
That's what I'm telling you. Like,
I feel like he's been like side characters in like a few other TV shows, but I could not tell you what right now.
No, so I want to see, because I was looking at this so he was in We Are Marshall. And I was trying to put everyone knows Matthew Fox from Lost.
Is that the football movie?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so everyone knows him from Lost, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where. So I was like, I don't know what else he's been in or what's gone on. And then he's in this, and I was just thinking, like, man, I haven't seen him in I haven't seen him recently. So I pulled this up. Bone Tomahawk in 2015 is the last thing, at least credited.
Yeah.
As an actor.
As far as like a movie goes.
No, even they put on like Lost is on here. They put television shows on here. I'm telling you, as an actor. So I mean, I don't know unless like something else has popped up. This might be. It's been 6 years without Matthew Fox.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it doesn't help too that I think he's had some incidents, like personal incidents with like public image and like the law and stuff, because there's been allegations that he like hits women.
Oh really? So he probably got swept up, and I shouldn't say swept up. I mean,
I think he got a little. I think he got a little bit blacklisted in terms of like finding work after Lost was done.
Yeah, we can talk about it because like Emil Hirsch, that happened to him.
Yeah, with Into the Wild. Yeah,
that got brought up after. So he was in like I think Once Upon a Time on Hollywood.
Yeah, wasn't he Charles Manson in that movie?
No, he was one of the.
Or was he one of the Manson?
He wasn't a Manson. He was part of the chick, the who got killed. I can't remember her name. That was
Sharon Tate.
Yeah, it was a guy that was in love with Sharon Tate.
Oh, okay.
And remember, he meets up with Leo at the end. He's like, "Hey, man, that was wild. What happened?"
Yeah. Spoilers for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Sorry about that.
So, he met up with, and so he's in that, and I was like, me and my brother were talking about it. He's like, "Can you believe this is like the most recent thing he's been in? Like when it came out a year or so ago."
Yeah.
He goes, "Try to think back of the last thing you can remember him in." I was like, "I can't." And things came out, so that's what I kind of thought something like that happened to Matthew Fox.
Yeah, but
which is unfortunate, but
yeah, and it's weird too because like this movie came out after like those allegations were like made. I think they were made in like 2008, 2010 or something.
Well,
and it got me thinking like a little bit about how S. Craig Zahler chooses to like cast people in his movies.
Yeah,
because he's also got Mel Gibson in Dragged Across Concrete, which a lot of people nowadays would be hesitant to have Mel Gibson star in their movie. I mean, I think he's come around a little bit since all that stuff happened in like 2013 or something. But still, it's like a lot of baggage to have, and kind of a big risk if you don't like treat it in the right way, I guess.
I agreed. I don't know because one of the Dragged Across Concrete came out, and there's some oh my god, some what do you call that, old white man thinking? I guess I'm trying to think of the way to describe it, where it's kind of that 60s, us and them. These kids don't do right, things like that.
Yeah.
And there's some like sort of profiling and stereotypes exist, and it's kind of
they touch on police brutality,
and how the world's gone away because we can't do this anymore.
Yep.
And it's so in this one he hits on like 3 or 4 kind of racial sensitive issues.
Yeah, specifically with like Native Americans.
Well, not only that, African Americans too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of crazy that he doesn't pick on one group because he even picks on like white people in it too. So it makes you, is he just part of it?
It's an interesting sort of like commentary.
Yeah.
You don't exactly know what he's saying, but you know that things are being said.
Yeah.
I know that the characters are talking about it. Yeah, and I think that's how the characters would actually talk to each other, especially like in a movie like this where it's set in like the late 1800s.
It has to be 18. Yeah, somewhere in there because the guy Richard Jenkins' wife passed away in 1891.
Yeah,
and I think she had been dead for 10 to 15 years.
And didn't he say he was in like the war or something?
Yeah,
which I'm guessing meant the Civil War or whatever.
It had to have been.
Because that's the only war I can think of at that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really like the writing in all of his movies that I've seen. I think it's really well done. I think he's got a knack for writing complex characters in a simple plot setting.
And he does it in all 3 of his films.
Yep.
Like that's kind of what I was gonna say too. Is he is right now from bang for your buck. best guy, point A to point B for entertainment.
None of the characters feel like overly flowery. I can't say that word. Flowery, like in terms of their dialogue. Like a lot of times when directors or writers write characters for their movies, it can kind of feel like
profound.
it can kind of feel like they have to make them this sort of elevated, profound, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Like more important, more intelligent than they actually would be. Whereas like he's not afraid to, I feel like, write characters that have these sort of flaws and like shortcomings that you can actually like see play out on screen instead of like having them explained to you. You know, I think it's really well done.
Well, the best Bruder.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Bruder was going to turn into that because I couldn't remember the whole thing. You know, he had a really funny line, and not to say right or wrong, but he started talking about being smarter than those three guys.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm the smartest man here.
Yeah. You have a wife, you have a wife, you have a wife.
Smart men don't get married.
Yeah.
Or whatever he says.
A couple of them had a chuckle about it. Richard Jenkins obviously did not enjoy it because he missed his wife that much, but
right.
You know, I thought they were kind of Bruder was towing that line, and no, he was just a man of the West. He has experiences, and he'd been in that environment for so long that he knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, well, and you could tell too that there was like an underlying hatred towards Native Americans and like a not hidden vendetta, but like a vendetta that he would not admit outright at first. You know,
right.
And that was like his pure motivation for like going on this rescue mission, which, you know, I thought was pretty nuanced in the way they handled it and like his character. I thought the performance was really good too.
All of them.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever have a point where you were like, all right, I got to check my phone, or like,
no,
tired of this, you know?
No, I did not.
I
was pretty engrossed the entire time. Yeah.
It was, dude, there's probably, so you have the opening scene, which is 5 minutes of kind of craziness.
Yeah.
It really does set the tone for what you're kind of getting into.
Yep.
And then it slows down for the next probably 80 minutes.
Yeah. Well, because it's a lot of setup to get to the end where they're in the cave.
Right.
Basically.
I mean,
it's really good. But like that part of it, honestly, when they're leading up to like the cave and like they first get ambushed, is my favorite chunk of the movie. I really loved that part because like they're laying there, like they finally get to the cave after like days of trekking across the country basically, and or across the land or whatever, and they have this like not telescope. What did they call
German?
It? Yeah,
it was a telescope, but it was really fine technology for the time.
Yeah, very expensive like piece of technology that Bruder had, and he was always like, don't break my German or whatever.
He didn't let him handle it. But they finally,
So then he finally lets them like take a look through it, and then they're laying there like on the ground, like I don't know, like 100 yards or whatever from the cave. Yeah, and then they're like, "What do you see?" It's like, "Oh, I can't tell." And then they like just immediately get attacked by like arrows, like Bruder's like shot, and it just like starts. Yeah, it just.
Yeah,
it just starts going down immediately, and you can like see the panic in their faces, and like the situation just quickly like is flipped on its head. And I think it's such a really like chaotic and well done scene. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, you're right. It went from 0 to 100, like that.
Yeah, it was insane. And then like I like the fact too that they don't shadow what the troglodytes look like. They don't like try to hide them and like make them super mysterious. Like they show you up front what these dudes look like when they encounter them.
Oh my god! Well, and I was thinking about it, and I think I really like this too because this is almost like a horror western. Mm-hmm. I mean, they in a horror film because I was thinking about this. You know, the inciting action. Right, is always something where it's a mysterious force and you never know what you're dealing with or what you're going on, and it's just this kind of venture into the unknown to discover some, indestructible force coming at you, right?
Yep.
in this one, they set it out. They don't really. I mean, they kind of hide them. I think they might have shown them in the beginning.
Yeah, like, I think he had like a mask or something on. But...
You get to see him just for a second, right?
But yeah.
They go back into town, and you know what's happening as soon as the lady gets kidnapped.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no like that. We don't know what we're dealing with. It's like we got to go find her, and we're gonna have to deal with some Indians.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have some idea, whatever. I mean, the eerie kind of the howling out of their communication, which was another.
Oh God, yeah, that's a whole different thing.
But like there wasn't in it. You knew what they were going into, and there wasn't a lot of guessing.
Yeah,
which I appreciated because it added actually more to the suspense about where is it coming from.
Yeah,
I
think that's important too with a movie like this. If you want like maximum suspension, which that sounds like an action phrase from like a superhero that's thing is like springs.
Yeah, I was about to say, or you're dealing
shoots,
with
he shoots springs at you and then they like bounce off your face and then you like bounce into the jail cell or whatever. That's that's what that reminds me of. But like if you want like heightened suspension in a movie, I feel like it's important to like make it simple and it like leaves room for that suspension to grow. Whereas if you make it too complicated, that suspension can get weighed down and watered down, and it doesn't make it as impactful as it could be.
Agreed. I mean,
I sprung the nail on the hit the nail on the
maximum sprung.
Matthew Fox.
I can't believe he hit. I was just going on about how great of an actor he was, and now he hits ladies. Like, that's not good.
There were allegations, for sure, and I'm gonna have to. It's something that like he's denied over and over again. So you can't really tell what the allegations are true.
Well, he hasn't been in a movie in 6 fucking years, so I'm guessing.
If there's like because there was like more than one instance of like an allegation, right? There are like 3 separate allegations or whatever. So if there's like a pattern, I feel like there's got to be something there, right?
For sure. Well, listen, he did it enough, or there was enough against him that he's out of Hollywood. Yeah.
So I feel like that's pretty telling. But I mean, the performance in this movie was still really good, though.
Second to none.
I liked his costume too. He was like the only one that was in like all white, and it like contrasted with like his black mustache the entire time. Oh my god,
dude! His facial. He was
He was so like stoic, but also like kind of angry the whole time.
The way that the way that he. His eyes, man. Like every time there was a lot of resolve behind like what he was thinking and what he said.
Yeah.
What he said was finite, and it wasn't a speculation or assumption, or he wasn't going to lead you astray. It was what it was.
Yeah.
And dude, by the end, his facial expressions there, I was like, you can see it wasn't him. He didn't have an answer for what was happening.
Yeah.
It was so and I'm just like watching this. I was like, what happened to this dude?
Yeah, like it's the only moment that he loses control in the movie, and he pays for it with his life.
Yeah, and like, dude, give me a cigar.
Yeah.
I'd like one of those. And dude, I mean, like they were all fantastic. I mean, even minor characters were in this. So. How about not giving it away how it happens, because I'd love people just to see it for what it is.
Yeah. So you think we shouldn't describe what?
No, I don't want. Well, it probably sounds weird on this anyways, but like, no, I want people to genuinely see it. There's a gruesome death at a certain point, because I don't want to tell where it's at.
Okay.
Like just what that death scene.
Holy hell.
So like. All right, so in 2015 when this came out, they alluded to what happened. So I was kind of like, when I watched this, I was watching it to see that scene.
Okay,
it wasn't explained exactly.
You were like waiting for it to pop up.
Yeah, so I kept like, that's why I was like, I'd poke my head up to see like, all right, what's going on? Like, is it here? Is it here? And I never, you just don't know when it's happening. And man,
when it comes,
oh dude,
because like there's a few different scenes that you could argue like, oh man, that's like kind of gross, or like, oh, that's like really like unsettling. But when that scene hits, you know undoubtedly that is the scene that people talk about.
So this is like a 20-second death scene, right? Maybe
it's surprisingly long.
Maybe 30. Well, I'm saying there's two incidences that happen to the dude. I forgot about the first one. I was watching it, and all of a sudden the first thing's going. I was like,
quick,
And then the second one,
it's such like a snowball effect.
Oh my god! Like I completely. It just kept getting worse. It was insane.
I remember when I was watching it, I was like actually reeled back with like my blanket up against my neck.
Yeah.
And I was just like bracing for like anything else that was gonna happen.
And then it got worse.
And then it gets worse.
And then you're like, what the, dude? Oh my god.
So we can easily say that out of the 3 movies that he's made that we've seen, that is like the most iconic, gruesome death scene of any character in any of his movies, right? I mean, I can't think of anything else in the other 2, you know?
So in Cell Block, he does, I don't want to, who he does it to or what, but I'm pretty sure he stomps someone's head in.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty memorable.
Yeah.
Like but it's such a, like a quick, like, and done thing.
It happened in, and then in Dragged Across Concrete, what happens to, is it Lily Taylor or something like that?
Oh,
remember?
Yeah, she's also in Cell Block as the wife.
Yeah. I don't remember if that's.
I don't remember her name.
She's from Dexter. Probably not Lily Taylor. I think that's actually a chick from The Haunting.
Okay. But yeah, I remember. Yeah,
that one was because nothing was going on.
That whole build up,
Dragged Across Concrete, and all of a sudden, then that happened. And I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. You felt kind of robbed in a way.
Like, well, no, I mean, it wasn't even like it was just one of those things where it's like, all right, I've seen Bone Tomahawk.
Not to put a pun on it, you know, you feel robbed. Get it? Yeah, because what happens in?
Yeah, I know what. I'll give you the pun. I'm not saying I didn't feel robbed. It was. I thought they were gonna go through. I thought S. Craig was gonna have a clean flick throughout. Like wasn't gonna see anything that was disturbing.
Yeah, no, that's the kickoff point.
And then
that's where he comes in and he slaps you in the face.
Goes,
yeah, that's where he sticks his fingers up your nose.
Oh
and
my!
Drags you across the concrete.
Yeah. Did that happen?
I don't think so.
No,
that specifically did not happen.
But all I know is that I will probably own all 3 of his movies. Like I think he's becoming like he might be my generation.
Well,
Tarantino.
I was gonna bring this up earlier too, but I forgot. But I'm glad that you said it now. He's also an author. He he writes novels too, which I think like a novel of his is being adapted into a movie and directed by another person, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Hey.
Yeah, I don't know how. I don't remember what book. I don't remember what director, but
if you find that out, I'm kind of curious because I want to hear what he'd have to say about it.
Yeah, I'll let you know. But you can kind of tell like the way he writes the characters and like the way he writes the story is very novel-esque. It's very like literary. It's very like flowing with narrative, I guess you could say.
You know, and I do agree with that because I was thinking about all 3 of these films too. A lot of the scenes hang on the scenery.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like what a novel, you have to set up the picture of what's going on, where the characters are at, and you have to describe so you can get the feel of the atmosphere. And then he puts it in to these films, but not only that, I mean, he keeps it. It's hard to keep it simple.
Yeah.
You know, like I truly think like some of the smartest people are the ones that can break something that's either completely abstract down or deconstruct and just put in certain blocks, but develop a whole picture around it. And he does it. I mean, dude, like, so in that one, it's a rescue mission. Cell Block, another kind of rescue mission.
Cell Block is like, to me, that one almost felt like level of not progression but like regression. Like
sure,
it almost felt like a descent into hell because
Okay.
The cells
Dante's
that
Inferno.
Almost, yeah, because the cells that he found himself in just kept getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
So,
well, he never like wavered. I don't know. He was such a fucking force.
Oh yeah. Like they didn't really affect him too much.
That's what I'm. Maybe they didn't affect Dante either. I don't know. I've never read Dante's Inferno, but
yeah, just like the nature of the situation.
Yeah.
Just he kind of like descended further and further into like the shit.
Yeah, and the further he got into the shit, the worse off. Whatever was happening to his fiance or his beloved one.
Yeah. It was almost like anytime progression was made on the outside, regression was made on the inside, sort of thing. And then Dragged Across Concrete is very much a character-heavy conflict movie with two opposing sides. Where you could argue there's like an element of like a third in there, sprinkled in. You know?
I'd have to. I mean, I don't know. I gotta watch. I gotta watch Cell Block again. I gotta watch Dragon. I'm serious.
Not a bad endeavor.
No, not. I can't praise this dude enough.
He knows what he's doing.
So
he's got a good sense of what he wants in a movie.
Oh yeah, he's good, man. He's got the vision for it. I mean, he probably puts pen to paper and just says, this is exactly what I want done. And he doesn't waver, and that's probably why he gets the most out of his characters, because he's able to define the moment for him. Mm-hmm. This is how you're feeling. This is what I need you to be thinking about.
Yeah.
There's no artistic, I don't want to say endeavor or, he doesn't leave it up to, why can't I think of it?
Interpretation.
Yeah. So are we good for a rating on it? You got anything else? What else do you want to talk about with this one? Because,
I feel like
I was smitten.
Yeah, I feel like there's a few things I'd like to touch on. Like I thought the special effects were great. You get the sense that like there's a lot of like practical stuff, like with the weapons and like the blood and everything, like super good. There was like one moment where a character's head gets bashed in, and I noticed it in Cell Block too.
Yeah,
where like it's clearly like a paper mache head that I don't know if that's like a weird Easter egg that S. Craig Zahler does.
No, I mean
if it's like a tongue-in-cheek reference to like Grindhouse movies in a way.
I almost feel like he uses, it's not the gore that he uses and the gruesome effects.
Yeah,
I don't think he intends it, at least from kind of when I watched it this time, to scare you. Like it almost feels as tongue-in-cheek the way he's just like killing these people. It's almost like he's having fun with it.
Yeah.
It's not hostile where it's like, torture porn. It's like, what's a fun way we could do it? And like, so he takes like the head, like a head smashing and just, it's, it's like a watermelon.
It's when Tarantino's on that like news interview and he's like, because violence is fun, Jan. Get it.
Yeah, just
you ever see that video?
No.
Oh, I gotta show it to you after. It's Quentin Tarantino on like this local news thing, and like this woman's there too, and she's like trying to like pressure question him as to like why he includes like so much violence in his movies and like violence is wrong and all this stuff, and he's just like going on and on about like because it's fun, Jan. It's so good. I love it.
There's a certain delicacy if you can mix it in.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that was something that I noticed too. And it's something that I like kind of like, it's like a weird, like kind of, it feels like a nod to like those old style like movies where like everything was practical and like you could easily like see the special effects a little bit more and recognize when they were fake. But I don't know. It's like I feel like it's something I still have to bring up because it's happened twice now. In each of his movies. Not saying it's a bad thing, just something that is noteworthy.
No, I agree. Because I mean, I honestly like I think you're spot on with it. I think that he has. It's not to scare. I'll say that. Yeah. I think it's an ode to something or a nod to something that he appreciated. Maybe he liked seeing that when he was watching like B horror films in the 70s. And he's like, you know what, I'm gonna have that in my film because it tickled him or something. I don't know.
Yeah. And another thing I noticed too, and this was like almost kind of a criticism, is the wife, O'Dwyer's wife. She was very like dolled up throughout the entire movie. Even when she's like, spoiler for the end of the movie. They like find her and she's in the cage and she's like talking to Kurt Russell and Richard Jenkins, and she's still like got makeup on. She still looks like absolutely gorgeous in the movie, and it's like she wouldn't look a little bit rougher, having been kidnapped by troglodytes and placed in a cell for like a few days. Like she wouldn't look a little bit emaciated from like lack of food or whatever. Like I don't know. She still looked like she was ready to like go out on the town when she was being captured.
Her character the whole time felt like she was a little too smart for that town, a little too good looking for that town, a little too intellectual for that town. So I don't know if he is once again making a joke, a reference. Maybe it's contrasting the men to the women of the time.
Maybe it just felt like kind of out of place.
I thought her dialogue felt out of place a lot of the time. I mean, she was always. I mean, and like I don't want to sound like sexist, but I mean, she was always like one step ahead, and she never wavered on it. So even because I'm with you, when they got to the cave, she was still like wasn't acting dehydrated or starving. She was still dude. She had her rant.
Well, I think too, and this isn't with just her character towards that part of the movie. I think Kurt Russell and Richard Jenkins, like when they get in those situations, like besides like the scene, there's no like real like panic. It feels like the characters feel like, all right, this is our life for the time being. We know we're gonna like come up with a plan and like try to get out of here. Like they're almost like too resolved for their situation, and it doesn't really feel like that like natural like character writing comes out as much as it does like in other parts of the movie. And that kind of like took me out of it a little bit, because it almost felt like the scenes in Dragged Across Concrete between Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn when they're talking to each other like pretty much the whole time.
Right.
I think it works in that movie because they're kind of like almost in a constant state of control, and they've been in situations like that before where because they're partners and there's like a history there. Whereas like this movie, they get in that situation, they've never dealt with troglodytes before. They've never like dealt with anything like this before. It's the first time that they are like kind of dealing with like this almost beastly force. And so when they get kidnapped and when they get put in those cages, they're almost a little too calm for me, and they're almost a little too well written, if that makes any sense, which kind of has an inverse effect on how I feel about their writing.
I could see that. I mean, I'm thinking about it. Yeah, it never really, I guess, pulled me out, just because, I mean, one, you kind of know where you're at in the film, which I wish I could remove all of my thoughts when I watch film.
Cursed with intellect.
No, but I mean, you're just sitting there, you're doing the math, and it's just like, I'm more concerned of like, wow, we're in a sticky situation now. How are we getting out of this? So I put my anxiety and fear, and I project it, back onto myself with maybe what I think. So I'm like kind of seeing what my rationalization onto them is. But the other thing too is, Kurt Russell, the whole time had a pretty fierce mentality. He didn't really, he was never afraid of anything.
Yeah.
And I think that even when that one scene was happening and he's like, the cavalry's coming.
Yeah.
You always knew that in his heart, he wanted to do what was right. And, so I think that's why maybe they could have did some tics, maybe some body gestures to show the nervousness, or like the flask.
Yeah.
They could have spilt some because he's shaking.
Yeah.
Maybe that would have been a better way, because honestly, the way he had to react in that situation was he had to be, we're going to get out of this.
And, I can understand that from like his character's point of view. Yeah. Because like he kind of has to embody that like sort of hope for like the whole group. Well, but like, I don't know, Richard Jenkins and O'Dwyer, like Mrs. O'Dwyer.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm with you on her.
Yeah.
I think Richard Jenkins was a emotional reflection of like
of Kurt Russell.
Yeah. Like if he would have freaked out, Richard Jenkins would have freaked out. Like he was the dumb servant. Like literally was like,
I can see that.
You tell me how I gotta feel. Remember, even in there's a certain situation going on, and Kurt Russell said, that's like what I'd like to hear. and then something pops up. Richard Jenkins is screaming what Kurt Russell said.
Yeah.
Literally, like, he didn't have that train of thought to say, how can I provide hope? He just regurgitated what he's like, he said he'd want to hear that. Mm-hmm. So then he just starts screaming it back at him. I was like, I was laughing when that popped up. I was like, this guy's so dumb. Like, Kurt Russell's like in his head, like, shut the fuck up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's why those two guys, they cracked me up, but I give a pass because I don't know. I mean, Russell the whole time kind of had that brazen embodiment, but the Mrs. O'Dwyer, that was the one that annoyed me. I didn't really care that she was wearing makeup, but it was her, she was still the same chick from 3 days later that had just gone through hell.
Yeah, and she looks exactly the same.
And was still, it wasn't panicked or freaked out. She just sat there, was like, you know, this is it. Like, she had, I don't know, maybe she was so meta.
Like, Kurt Russell and Richard Jenkins are like bloodied. They've got like arrows in their body.
Yeah.
And then she's just sitting there in like a nice dress with like makeup on.
God knows what happened to her, because they did have like the how many males are in the thing, and she like had to do the, and it was kind of like, I don't know what exactly happened. It's hard to say though.
It's interesting, the tribe dynamic too.
Yeah, because like you really
the
don't
like
know
12 males and like the 2 pregnant females who were like, I don't.
Yeah, it's well, and you wonder. I mean, that's the one thing too that I was curious about. I was like, all right, is he doing this for show, or is he doing it because, I mean, like resentment for Native Americans too? Because you could take it one of two ways, which is kind of weird. Like the whole film, you could, there are certain situations you take one of two ways, which I like, because you could watch that with someone else that might be like, a little on the racist side.
Oh yeah,
and they might be like, oh God, look at those savages. Can you believe that's how they lived?
Yeah.
Freaking troglodytes that should have been there. And it's just like,
that'd be rough.
All right. Okay. So, and then you got the other one where
Jerry's getting a little too into this movie.
Yeah. Hey, I know we've hung out a couple times.
Yeah.
Why don't you keep some of those thoughts to yourself? But then you got the other way. Like, I watched it and I was like, man, it's a good horror if you kind of put it in that sense of, unknown enemy.
Yeah,
from a foreign enemy. Well, I shouldn't say foreign. I guess they were native, but you know how.
Just like an unknown force. Basically.
Yeah, and kind of crafting it to whatever you want. Because I really thought he could have put. Well, maybe given that it's a Western, but in modern times you could probably put whatever you want.
Oh yeah.
For those troglodytes, and it could have been an alien. It could have been,
Yeah, I like that he chose a Western as like the sort of backdrop for the situation.
Yes.
But he also could have picked like a modern time or like any other time, I think, and applied it to the same story.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, fantastic. So,
yeah, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about.
That's all I got too, man. Okay. I can't recommend this film enough. So what'd you rate it? Because I had a funny thing that popped up. When I was gonna rate mine, so I don't know.
I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10.
8.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
I think it's a great film. I think like the first minute to like 80% of the movie is amazing. Like that build up, that like scene where they finally get to the cave and they get ambushed. I think it's super well done. And then the last like 20% of it, I also really enjoyed, but there were some things about it that I just could not let go as far as like situations and stuff, because like I said, Mrs. O'Dwyer looked a little too done up for the situation that she was in, and also it kind of turns into like almost like a Rambo type movie sometimes.
Yes. That was the one beef I had with it.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering if you felt the same way.
I don't know why they had to have his. I know they use it as like a plot device. I did not like it.
the siren thing. Is that what you're talking about?
No, his leg.
Oh yeah.
The leg, like you could have. At any point, he could get separated from the pack. Mm-hmm. At any point.
Yep.
And I don't know. I mean, I was thinking though how crazy it was that like, hey, we're gonna go trek like 40 miles over 5 days or whatever, and
Patrick Wilson's got a broken leg the entire time.
Well, not only that, but like, okay, imagine now, right now, okay? And I'm not taking anything away from you or anything. Just you're living, and you go, all right, I'm going to go to the woods, and I'm going to trek 40 miles in 5 days. Could you imagine that third day, like falling ill and be like, I'm going to die here. Like, this is it.
Yeah.
Surrounded by technology, cell phones, communication. I mean, you could call Uber and they could deliver you food and you could have your last meal in the woods and die. And 120 years ago, this guy had like just a cut on his leg.
Yeah.
And the third, like, hey,
it gets infected, and next thing you know,
we'll
he's
see you
dead.
later. Like, that's it. Like, 3 days, you've gone 15 miles into the world. 15 fucking miles, dude. That's from here to Nunavut, and you're gonna die. Could you imagine, like, just right now, like, you walking to Nunavut and then just dying on the side of on a highway?
Yeah.
I thought it made me laugh. Like, how insane was the fucking Westerns? Like. You had a town of 25 people. You had one sheriff with a deputy and a backup deputy to handle the town of 25, right? And then, hey, we're gonna go on this trek, and after 15 miles, you're gonna die because of a cut on your fucking leg.
Yeah.
Like I was laughing at that kind of like, oh my God, I could not imagine like just being in this world.
Well, I think
compared to where we're at now in life.
I think, and I want to touch on it quickly too before we move on. But I think the movie did a great job in portraying how pained he was with his leg. Almost the whole time. I say almost the whole time because once he gets to the cave and once he like comes upon the troglodytes and like starts like building a strategy almost with like the horn that he finds, like I said, it almost turns into like a Rambo type movie. And it's almost like his leg just becomes like a small nuisance rather than like a big problem.
Well, the opium definitely helps. Like,
true.
That was one of the things I couldn't laugh. I had to laugh too, dude. I mean, this guy fits in like racial inequalities in an 1890s Western film. Drug addiction, gun safety.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm trying to think of probably what else. Like, women's rights would probably sprinkled in there somewhere. Like, it's so funny how he takes modern issues and sprinkles them into this. And they're just small little bits of dialogue that happen. Yeah. You know? And I'm with you, though. I did have an issue with it towards the end where... Because... I can't believe the leg. Yeah. Like, that's the one, like, at some point in that film, you probably could have had him, or the Mexicans ambush him, hit him across the head with a stone, they leave him for dead. They go on, we'll remember you, and then he gets up, wraps up the head. There you go. You don't, I didn't get the whole leg thing. Like, it never, I don't know if it was supposed to build up his will or the love of his wife, but like
I think that and like they needed a reason too for him to like fall behind.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Ambush him, smack him across the head, they leave him for dead. It's the 1890s. Like, no one's got a fucking heart monitor. They probably didn't even really know about a pulse. Like, you're gonna go check his, like, he looks dead, he's dead.
Their form of like fixing a broken leg is like amputation, basically.
Well, or the other way.
Yeah.
Which I had an issue with that one too. Like, that made it better.
Yeah, just like
you can set it. I don't know, like a bone snapped in half. How do you fucking put it back into place? Yeah, like they just like connect the dots.
There's some weirdness there for sure.
But you know, it's one of those things though. You got an Indian with boar tusks sticking out of his face. Like, you kind of have to fall into the, all right, I can...
suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, I can believe that maybe he got a little high on opium and made a run for it. You know, like... So, I was kind of watching it, I did have my beefs, but they were very small beefs. Because I was like, I'm, like you said, suspending disbelief, so I can live in it. So...
What'd you rate it?
I was on there and I was like, you know what? 9 out of 10.
Nice.
Like, this is a very, like, it's so simple. It's very enjoyable. I think, like, I could watch this again. And even with what I saw, like, it's still, even the death scenes, like, actually, I'd probably be a little bit better off knowing that they're coming.
Oh, yeah. You're prepared for them now?
Yeah. Like, it's not, like, that almost could take you out of the film.
Yeah.
And, I'm like, I got to see what else I gave because I've rated, I've seen all three, so I want to Dragged Across Concrete. 9 out of 10.
I would probably say the same for me. And with Cell Block.
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
This dude has 3 films. 9 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 9 out of 10. And at that point last night, I said, this guy is becoming one of my favorite directors.
He's very consistently good, and I'm excited to see what else he makes.
100%.
We've got some questions from the Facebook page. I made a post,
Ooh.
and some people commented, and by some people, I mean 2. Yeah.
But shout outs.
They made multiple questions, so we will try our best to answer all of them, I think.
Oh, absolutely. I did some research, but my memories is that of a 3-year-old, so we'll find out how well I do.
That just makes you a easily relatable father, right?
Well, it's past my press membership that I don't know.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
He's going to be a megamind when he gets older.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, he's going to hustle me.
Yeah. He's gonna pretend to not know how to play pool, and then you're gonna play and be like, I'm gonna beat this kid, and then he's gonna
No, I was thinking more of Memento.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Your Guy Pearce.
Yeah. Hey, give me $5.
He's Teddy.
The guy hand him $5. He comes back like, hey, hand me give me $5. I'm like, I just gave you $5, and he's gonna go 10, 9. I'm like, what the fuck you doing? 8, 7. Like, hey, knock it off. And then 2, 1. Hey, can I get $5? Like, yeah, here you go.
Yep. Yeah, you're gonna have so many tattoos over your body, except he's gonna be the one tattooing things on you to tell you what to do. Preston needs Culvers today.
Oh. Yeah. So what do we got? I know
we got some questions from our friends here.
Yeah.
So our first set of questions comes from my friend Drew.
Just mix them up.
Mix them up?
Yeah. Now you're the one, because I know you're asking me, but I don't remember who asked what.
Oh, okay.
So just throw it out there.
I'll alternate then, or
do whatever you want to do. I'm saying you just look down whatever one you think works. Because I don't remember who asked what. I know my answers to what I was looking at, but
all right.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, let's not. We don't have to segregate.
Okay.
We're all one family under the neon crew.
I'd like to name them though, so they know oh, he's answering my question.
I'll tell you right now, we only had 2 people do it. I think each of them are gonna remember what they asked. I'm not gonna. If there was 50 people, I would say that maybe, but it's a little Russian roulette,
All right.
Maybe whoever you read off the question to is going to be like, damn, that was a good question. Did I ask that? And then they look in there and they go, damn, it was the other guy.
All right.
So now they got to one-up each other.
I'll list them off now, and then whoever questions they were, you can decide. So Drew and Miles, our friends over on the Facebook page. Thank you for answering, or asking questions, I should say. This first question is best movie soundtrack.
Whoa, okay.
Drive. I love the Drive soundtrack. I think it's amazing.
Really?
Yes. So it got me into a genre of music that stuck with me for years, which is synthwave, basically.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's that's fantastic. Yeah, I was trying to think. I was debating on this. I mean, does it have to be what do you call it? OST?
Like an original score versus a movie soundtrack.
Yeah, where you just pull, music from. Honestly, this is my 2 things. It's like Braveheart, original score.
Okay.
Twister with Bill Paxton. That has a number of licensed musicians.
Yeah, and I think with that too, I think Guardians of the Galaxy hits the ball out of the park.
That is actually a really good one. So this is the one I struggled with the most. I'm not gonna lie, and it's not because I don't.
Good thing we're getting it out of the way.
Well, I mean, it's not because I don't know good. I Interstellar, fantastic. There's moments that sweep you. There's moments that really define kind of the mood that maybe you're supposed to be feeling. Mm-hmm. So I'm just using it as an example. There's a lot of times in the movie where I don't really separate the 2. I don't go, the music from the film, because I don't really have that. I don't know. I don't break it down like that. So that's why I struggled with it, honestly.
I think Mandy's a really good like original score. R.I.P. Johan Johansson.
Have you ever seen Tron Legacy?
A long time ago.
Daft Punk does that. Mm-hmm. That's fantastic.
Yeah, maybe worth a revisit. Probably one of these days.
You're going with?
I can go with both.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so like soundtrack in terms of like music that already exists. I think Drive is a really good one because they use a lot of like good. They use a lot of like already established artists. Kavinsky, College and Electric Youth.
Yeah.
Whereas like Mandy, I think is a great like original score
for sure.
Johan Johansson. I think he's fantastic for that movie. You definitely get a sense of my style with these answers. That's for sure.
I'm you know what? You pick two, I'm picking two. I'm gonna go one with recent nostalgic and one with maybe not recent nostalgic. One recently that I listen to all the time, and one that's nostalgic. The one that I listened to recently was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, seriously, like my favorite song of 2019 was Brother Love's Traveling Show.
Okay.
By Neil Diamond. But that soundtrack, I mean, just there's so many hits on that thing. You can pop that thing on, and they got the commercials intertwined into there. Nostalgic. We're going back now. This is a deep cut.
What we do here is go back.
The Lost Boys official soundtrack.
Okay.
Yeah, the Lost Boys. It's a very punk. I wish I had my brother on here. He'd be able to hit the genre on the head. I mean, do you know what the Lost Boys is?
Not really. I've heard the title, but that's it.
Yeah, it's 1980s kind of identity crisis, but there's a bunch of vampires in Santa Clara, and there's teens that are missing.
Interesting.
Yeah, so whatever vibe that is, the goth vibe, I guess, that's the music that comes with it. But we had the soundtrack, and I think in the summer of 2014, for about a good solid 3 weeks, windows down.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's awesome when you can play a movie soundtrack just like outside of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good sign.
You enjoy that's like Drive. Like Drive, I bet you probably had like 6 of those songs that you could just throw on at any point. And
Kavinsky is like the first on my like synthwave playlist of like a now 200 song playlist.
Yeah. And that's where it still stands. So that's fantastic.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that was a good question.
Fantastic. I mean, it really that's one that made me think the most, and I still didn't have an answer. I just made that up on the fly.
There you go. Improv. Hey, we're improv kings. All right. This next question is worst movie sequel.
Whoa!
I've got an answer.
You got one?
And it's a movie that I actually haven't seen, but I know that it's bad.
Oh, you can't do that.
Oh, you'll agree with me after I say the answer, though.
Ishtar 2?
No.
All right, Dune?
No. American Psycho 2.
Haven't seen it.
It is.
I'm not. How dare you? You haven't seen it. You can't go on there and say that.
Okay. It doesn't have Christian Bale in it, right? At all. It's got Mila Kunis as like a college girl who kills bad people.
Yeah.
And like they shoehorn this scene in there of like her killing Patrick Bateman in the beginning because he's like on a date with her babysitter or whatever. But like other than that, there's like no relation to the original at all.
Yeah, but
it's just in the name.
I think you gotta see the film before you can throw it down there on a sequel.
Listen, all right, give me an answer and maybe I'll come up with something.
I've had damn, what were the couple ones that I was thinking about? I really had a couple lined up too. Well, one was Anchorman 2.
Oh yeah,
Anchorman 2 was I felt that was a comedy that I took a nap in.
Oh no, that's not good.
No, like that's how I remember. I got 30 minutes into it and I started getting a little tired. I was a little sleepy.
Oh,
so closed my eyes and I woke up and there's 15 minutes left. So God knows how long it was. Oh my God, I had another one. Some of the Jaws sequels were bad.
Oh yeah, Jaws is a good answer.
Yeah. I want Jaws. It's more of like the Jaws Revenge. Mm-hmm. That one was pretty bad. God awful.
There's I wouldn't say it's like a huge drop off, but for some reason the first thing that comes to my mind is Sicario 2.
Yeah,
I think like I wouldn't say it's a terrible sequel. I wouldn't even say it's like that bad of a movie, but it's definitely a quality drop off compared to the first one, especially seeing as how Villeneuve did not direct the sequel.
Actually, you know what? Yeah. Well, I didn't think I guess I didn't think it was that bad though.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad either. It's the first one that like for some reason pops into my mind head. That I've seen. Yeah.
Actually, the worst sequel that I've ever seen is Salem's Lot 2.
Okay, I haven't seen those movies.
Yeah.
So I cannot sadly relate.
Salem's Lot 2 is so I remember I was looking this up when I read that on Facebook and I was like I went on to worst sequels. I think it's in here that I saw. Yeah, Salem's Lot 2 Salem's Lot 1 was a big film in young Mac's life. Okay. So you can only imagine when I found out there was a second one, how much more awesome it would be to see that second one. Yeah. All right. And there was a really weird scene at one point where the vampires are getting like sick. So they had to like drink the cow blood, and I think the cows were making them even sicker.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it was bizarre. But no, actually, this is what got me going on the rating scale.
Okay.
So this one would probably be
Speed 2.
A -10 for me.
Oh, nice.
Speed 2. Cruise control, dude. Sandra's back. Keanu's out.
Oh,
William
nice.
Dafoe is the bad guy on a cruise boat.
Nice.
And
I love Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, you might like Speed 2. Speed 2. Have you seen Speed 1?
I've seen Speed 1.
Speed 1? Mm-hmm. Check out Speed 2.
Okay.
I'm telling you, man. This is how awesome it was. I got done watching that thing, and I was like, that movie is so goddamn cool, right? Mm-hmm. 5 years later, you finally like start to hear about like people grading movies and whatnot.
Yeah.
Top 10 at that time were sequels. I was so shocked.
You were taken aback.
Dude, like 12 years old, 13 years old, like these people think this movie sucks?
What?
Yeah.
This movie is bad?
Which that's probably worth rewatching. But yeah, Speed 2 would be that was an honorable mention just because I wanted to throw it out there. In terms of sequels, yeah, it's a pretty god awful, like kind of like what you're talking about with American Psycho 2.
I've got a good one.
What?
That I've actually seen. So when I was a kid, one of my favorite childhood movies was The Sandlot, which I think I've mentioned before.
Of course, that was the top 5 scariest movie you've ever seen.
And the sequel that came out like 10 years later or something.
I haven't seen it.
It is trash. It's so bad. It's like it's none of the same characters.
Right.
And it like tries to be like I don't know, like the kids in it feel like they're too like profanity laden. Like the kids in the original Sandlot, they feel real. Like they feel like they're actual kids that are like
time playing Sandlot baseball.
They like call each other names and stuff and give each other a hard time, but they're still kids, you know. They get scared easily by like this imaginary thing.
Well, and their disses aren't like horrible.
Yeah.
Like you call someone a square in L7 Weenie is I mean, being at that age, it's tragic, but
it's like in the sequel, it goes from like this like kind of cool, quaint, like self-contained thing to like this. It almost feels like a Hallmark movie, and it's off-putting. It's bad. It's terrible.
Maybe that's why I never came across. People just act like it never got made, kind of like I do with the Crystal Skull.
I remember when I was a kid, I rented it from the video store that was like across the street from like my grandpa's house.
We can plug it. Family Video. I mean, it's not like
it wasn't Family Video.
Oh, it's just like a mom and pa family shop.
It was very much a mom and pa shop, and I don't think it's there anymore. And I don't remember the name. So
I mean, Blockbuster couldn't make it out of that. So
yeah, R.I.P.
Shout out Blockbuster
and Family Video.
Yeah,
if you guys want to come on the podcast, let us know.
Mr. Blockbuster,
Mr. Video. All right, we can move on to another question.
Yeah, light it up.
If you could pick any actor to play you in a movie/series, who would it be? So pre-shaved head for me, I would have gone with Chris Evans or someone that looks like me.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But shaved head, now I gotta pick Jason Statham because now he's the closest that looks like me.
Yeah,
I feel like so.
I like that.
Yeah. So those would be my two answers.
That's pretty
realistically, right?
Pretty solid.
I've got to humble myself.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're still, I would say it's humbling for Jason Statham.
Oh. You're too nice.
Well, yeah. So I guess I went in there's it's awful, but there's a running joke that I look like Gary Busey.
I can see it. I can see it.
And when I was down some weight, it actually got better. They said I looked like Jake Busey.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are the two. Realistically, if this was a biopic of me, it'd probably be in between that.
Yeah. And for me, realistically, I'd probably pick Andrew Garfield or something.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty good. You got to get someone with the stash.
I think he could pull it off. I think he could.
Okay.
He had a weird patchy beard in Under the Silver Lake.
Sure.
I think he could do it.
Yeah. If I had to go obviously my life on film would be insane. So I'd probably go with Gosling from Drive.
For you?
Oh yeah.
Oh nice.
If I had to pick a year, if you took, people are gonna hate me, but 2016, the insanity that was 2016, Gosling from Drive, 100%.
I've got an idea. So
make a pitch.
This question was
don't pitch.
Who would we pick? Don't pitch a 10. I don't know about that. That's not in the rule book in my podcast. I thought it'd be interesting because the question pertained to who would we pick to play ourselves. I think it'd be cool if we kind of flipped that and we chose who could play the other person. So I would pick who would play you and you would pick who'd play me. Oh, and I already have someone in mind for you.
Okay.
So this is more in terms of this person's voice and their kind of personality versus how they look compared to you.
Right.
I would pick Buddy Duress to play you.
I don't even know who that is.
He's Ray from Good Time. He's the dude who tells the story about how he.
Oh man.
Yeah. I would pick him.
Jesus. Yeah.
I think he would be a perfect fit for you, personality wise. Because anytime I watch that scene and I hear his voice, it makes me think of you.
Just going on and on.
Just
it's
his mannerisms and the way he carries himself.
It's stream of conscience.
Yeah, exactly.
He definitely in that story, he is in that moment going through it, and you could see. Yeah, I agree with that because that's you really don't see that a lot in film.
No, and that scene stands out to me so much.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that though because I had a buddy of mine that one time told me I wrote something out for him. It was just a little scene. Mm-hmm. He goes, "Van, that is such a stream of conscious. You're present in the moment." So I agree with that 100%. I don't know who I'd pick for you, man. That's
I feel like it's a harder task.
Huh?
I feel like it's a harder task.
Well, I'm not really good. I don't do a good job with I don't want to say it's not judging, but I don't have people where I kind of size them up. My friends, they do a really good job in films of saying you'd be that character, you'd be that character, you'd be. I don't have a good job. I don't know why, because I think I have a good eye for depicting traits of people, but in terms of sizing them up to someone else or putting them else in a different role, I really don't. I'm so bad with it. You come back to it. Do I get a chance? Because I got to think about it.
Yeah, no, you
had a chance to think about it.
Okay, yeah, that's true. All right, next question. Best use of puppets in a movie.
Oh,
the Muppets movie. I don't know.
I had to look it up. There's actually two films that I'd go with.
Okay. You name them, and then maybe I'll get an idea.
So, Team America. Ray, Matt Stone, and Trey Parker.
Yeah, Matt Stone, Trey Parker.
Dude,
yeah.
one of the Pretty good.
Okay.
I would say if you haven't seen it, watch that one. And actually, I read a little bit of the what they had to do for it. I mean, some of the scenes would take upwards of 9 hours to film. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, an 8-minute scene.
Yeah.
And they were very detail oriented. It actually cost them a lot of money. And why did they the fuck did they make the movie? Anyways, I wish I saved some of those facts. The other one's toy soldiers or small soldiers. Small soldiers.
Wow.
Have you seen it?
You unlocked like a nostalgia piece
Dude,
in my brain.
Small soldiers.
Yeah.
Like, we rented that from Blockbuster.
I loved that movie.
And it was 99, 98, Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, something, yeah.
Yeah. That movie, I'm pretty sure, those were a little bit like animatron, CGI or...
It's like stop motion almost.
Yeah.
Which, are we counting stop motion for this question?
There's use of puppets in it.
Right.
It's not all the same.
Yeah.
I think for the Gorgonites, some of the Gorgonites, they did that. I mean, I guess depending on what you depict as whatever you classify as a puppet.
Yeah. For some reason, like the OG Godzilla comes up in my mind.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you could argue that that's a puppet. I mean, it's a dude in a suit, but there's like, I feel like there could be in the argument for like puppet work there, you know? It's like depicting something that's like large scale that's not actually large scale, you know? It portrays something that's not actually happening.
Right.
I mean, which is every movie ever, obviously, but I don't know. For some reason, my mind goes to that, and I don't know why, I guess. I mean, if we're counting like stop motion, would you say like Fantastic Mr. Fox or something like that?
Oh, because is that clay?
Because I don't know if
I would say, yeah. I mean, I don't know how to define. I mean, because like the one I think like the puppet on the strings,
right?
And then you have like the Muppets that are like on a stick, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't. Hey, whatever asshole wrote the question didn't really define it. All right, that's what I'm saying. Puppets are puppets.
This is your fault. Fuck you.
No, I had to look it up because I was like, man, that's a tough one. And then, well, I mean, Team America. Like, if it was like you're picking a pup, like I don't know if you've seen Team America.
I have not.
You will. Do you like South Park?
I used to watch South Park quite a bit in high school.
Okay, then you'll have a good laugh out of it. It would be a good laugh.
All right, I'll have to check it out one of these days.
Yeah.
All right, I think we can have another question answered. Worst movie you've seen in theaters?
Oh,
I've got one to start us off. The third Divergent movie I saw in theaters. I was telling you about this when we worked at Sam's Club.
Oh my God, you had
it was like a whole odyssey. But basically, what happened was my cousin was in town, and she was a big fan of the books, and she'd seen like the first two movies, obviously, and she was wanting to see the third one. So me, my cousin, my other cousin, and my aunt, and I think my grandpa, we all like squeezed into my car, and I drove us to the Grand Haven 9, and we saw like a 2:30 showing of, I think it was called Allegiant. Yeah, it was like the third Divergent movie, and we got in there, and there was nothing but like old people who like made a day of like going to the theater to see a random movie they knew nothing about.
The matinee.
Yeah, and so we get in there, and it's like nothing but like 7 pairs of like old couples like scattered about, and us, like we were the youngest people in there. And we sit down and we watch the movie, and it like, take away the fact that I haven't seen the first two, right?
Take away the fact? No.
Yeah, no, take away that fact.
No,
because even if I had seen the first two, right, this one would have been just awful, and it was bad.
I'm telling you, like, if a movie's good, it should not have to fall on the laurels of the first or second one to make a third one good.
And I can recognize when a movie is good.
That's what I'm saying. So I won't take away that fact, because it should be good enough that you seeing it stand alone, you pick up enough and say that movie by itself is decent or good, or however you want to view it.
It wasn't.
Which I would say, if you had seen the first two and then saw that one, it might even make it a worse experience.
It probably would have been worse.
Like, imagine the third Lord of the Rings come out, and everyone's like, that steaming pile of shit?
Oh, no. That'd be terrible. All that hard work for nothing.
Wait, 6 years. Yep. I saw the first one, saw the second one 2 years later. Yeah, so
yeah, I would say that was just a terrible movie. Like, the effects were bad, the acting was bad, and it's funny too because the way the movie ends, they're clearly like setting up for a sequel. Like, they're doing one of those like, it's the last book, but we're gonna split it up into 2 parts sort of thing that they love to do at that time.
Yeah,
and the movie was like so panned and such like a box office failure that the people that made the movie were like forced to like put it on TV, like as a TV special. But because of that, none of the original actors wanted to come back.
Oh my God.
So then they had to can it.
How do you fall that far from grace?
It's yeah, I love that story. That story is like the best thing for me to have experienced to come out of that whole situation.
Yeah.
Rather than like the movie itself. Man. All right. So what would be your answer?
My answer, I've had some bad ones. I saw Haunted House with Eddie Murray at the Plaza.
Eddie Murray? Is he related to Bill
Murphy? Eddie Murphy?
Yes.
Eddie Murphy. I saw Charlie's Angels 2 in theater.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
I've seen, what was another bad one that Bringing Down the House. Super. I don't even know how that got made. You want to talk about like a race, like.
Pretty.
Two movies actually that came out at the same time that were very not.
Is it stereotypical?
Oh my God! And
Full
it's not even
stereotypes?
like close.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's not. You'd think it's almost like they're trying to be satirical.
So is that Tyler Perry's Bringing Down the House? Is that the full title?
Is it Bringing?
I thought it was, right?
Bringing Down the House. It's.
I thought it was
Queen
Tyler.
Latifah and. Oh my God, what's his name? He's in.
Steve Martin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I must be thinking of another one.
Yeah, Steve. Yeah. Anyways, it's I don't even know. I don't know how they. Anyways, though I've seen those in theater. Right. The worst film I saw in theaters. I was a young man, in love or lust.
Oh, on the cusp.
No.
Oh.
I thought I was. No, I was it was in the friend zone, 100%. But she had a friend, I think, that had a crush on me. So it's kind of like I'm going for this gal, this other gal. I mean, this is like 8th grade too, 7th, 8th grade. So I'm not like that cool or whatever. You know, it's 7th, 8th grade.
What are you talking about? You're always cool.
Well, no idea how emotions work and how to, so I had a crush on this girl. This one had a crush on me. So I kind of had to act like I was too cool for the film. But at the same time, I'm going to be with someone else. So I mean, I was, instead of just being like,
yeah, we could go see a movie, whatever.
Hey, this is going to be fucking trash. Like, I'm not going. I went. But then in a silent protest, I wore earbuds the whole time. And I was listening to my iPod.
Oh, nice.
I had a brick iPod that was 5Gs, held about 2,500 songs. So I went and saw The Ice Princess.
What the heck is The Ice Princess?
Swoon over a girl. And in doing so, I just listened to an iPod the whole time for 90 minutes.
What the heck is that? 2005?
Yep. So 2005? Oh, God, that can't be right. That means I was in 10th grade.
It's a Disney movie.
Yep.
Okay. It's about ice skating?
Yep. So the girl that had a crush...
I'm just looking at the poster.
The girl that had a crush on me... Well, it's a rebel ice skater, I think. I don't know. Dude, I didn't listen to the fucking film. Like, I had... I'm not lying. I got through these things and I was like, I don't want to be here. This is so stupid. Yet I'm here. Like, how can I say, like, I don't want to be watching this film and then just, like, totally pansy out and watch it? Throw on your headphones.
Oh, nice.
Like, totally passive-aggressive.
Yeah.
You know? And, like, so stupid. But the one chick, I think she was in... a figure skater or something like that. She went to Muskegon Catholic, so I mean, I think she was in figure skating.
Okay.
And the other one was in gymnastics. So it kind of spoke to them, and it was bring Mac along, and I fucking bit the fucking bullet. Anyways, I watched that. So the worst movie I've seen in theaters was that one. I didn't have headphones. Like, not once was there a scene where I was like, oh man, I gotta hear what they're saying.
Right.
Like, this is. Okay, something happened. Like, just make sure they can't see me in my hoodie. Like, drug addiction?
Yeah.
Is there going to be? Never. Yeah, fucking sat there the whole time.
There's no infamous bone tomahawk scene in The Ice Princess.
That would have livened that one up. That would have been fun. That's actually a funny juxtaposition right there. We should make that.
Yeah.
Market it as a G movie, but it's rated R.
Oh, no. We could.
I mean, that would be really...
I mean, you'd have a hard time doing it, I think, without, like, having to, like, display, like, the rating or something.
No, I'm saying, like, you tell everyone it's rated R, but no one knows why.
Oh, yeah,
like,
right.
Market it as, like, a Sandlot type film, and then it says rated R. And people would be like... What? And then have a bone tomahawk scene pop out of that thing. Do you imagine?
Violence? Animal cruelty? What?
It's fun, Jane. It's fun.
Get it.
Yeah. So anyways, Ice Princess, worst movie I've ever seen. And I've got like a couple that I could pick from. I saw Bad Teacher in theater. Oh, my God.
Oh, jeez. Yikes.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah.
All right, we can move on to another question. Best Denis Villeneuve movie. I've got an answer. I've got kind of like a weird stipulation with this one. So
okay,
for me, I think the best Denis Villeneuve movie is Prisoners. I think Prisoners is like his top movie as far as like overall quality. My personal favorite that he's done is Blade Runner 2049. Which, I mean, if you want to talk about a killer movie soundtrack, there's one right there.
You mean I'm picking one that I think's his best. I don't really care what.
Okay, I'm gonna go with my favorite then. I'm gonna go with Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, that's because I think the one that I picked out was So I remember I was going through his filmography, and as the one that stuck out to me. Actually, so mine is Sicario.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
my dad loves that movie.
I love Sicario too. I really liked.
I think it's really good.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have it. So originally I wanted to go with Prisoners. Because Prisoners, I mean, I didn't. That's a movie I think you can watch every 2 years.
Yeah, it's yeah,
it's a little heavy.
It is,
but it's very well directed.
I think I watched it like a year and a half ago. Was like the most recent, and I'd seen it before. But
it still goes down like.
Yeah. It's quite good. Yeah. I would say almost every one of his movies is like such a banger. Like,
of course,
you like people could easily tell me that their favorite movie of his is Arrival, and I would believe them like 100%. Like a lot of people love Arrival. They say it's like their personal favorite. Me, I have different answers. Is that the Alien?
Those things were kind of cute and cuddly though.
Oh yeah, they were. They were like the Dinkelhoffs of the Denis Villeneuve
my
universe.
God, dude! Is there in that film? Did you ever have like? It's a weird. It's so hard for me to describe. It was like 105 minutes of impending doom for me, where there was just a layer under the kind of everything's good, like of when are they gonna like turn that blue into red and like boo, 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 boo.
Yeah.
So at every point I felt
you were kind of on edge.
Yeah, and so that was a little bit of the downfall for me. Like that was like my kind of a let up. But
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe I just had different intentions in mind. But
yeah, we'll have to talk about it one day. For sure.
So what's the next one?
Next question. We've got.
So, by the way, for your character, and I hate to say it, just with the
we're going back to the actor.
Well, I was thinking about it because I was trying to pinpoint, but I mean, I can't. Cranston, Breaking Bad.
Is it because I'm bald?
Well, you're probably saying like at what point, right?
Okay.
Because he goes through a character arc throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
So for me, with where you're at, would be probably beginning of season 2.
Okay.
Interesting. Get into that kind of, we're getting into the game.
Getting into the stride of things.
Yeah, kind of. I'm getting past like that past life,
Yeah.
I'm moving on. I'm taking more control and action of this stuff, So that's why every time we hang out, I always say you look like Cranston, but if I had to pick one, it's definitely Breaking Bad. But he's got so many different ranges of characters throughout that thing.
Just like physically, his appearance changes so much.
Not even physics. It's just his mannerisms, his actions. That's more of like where I'm thinking about kind of like what he does and how he goes. I mean, I don't think there's anyone I'll ever meet in this world that will be like season 5 Cranston.
I hope not.
Yeah,
that'd be a little terrifying. Well, thank you.
I don't know. You got to watch Scarface. Go. Anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about Breaking Bad.
Oh,
that's gonna be a good series of episodes because it's not gonna take just one.
The holiday specials. Yeah. So what's the next question?
Next one is what movie upon rewatching did you change your opinion about? I think that's a good question. Ooh. I don't really have an answer for that one yet. So if you have anything,
mine, I did. Okay. I actually. Well, there was so recently, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Okay.
I think I actually liked it, and then the second time I watched it, I loved it. Like it went from like an 8 to a 10, but no, the biggest one for me was Everest.
Okay.
And it was only 2016, but the first time I watched it, it was just like a blockbuster about people climbing mountains.
Yep.
Then you watch it and you take it at face value.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second time I watched it, it really hit me about commercialism.
Okay.
And the extent people are willing to go for their reputation or image.
Yeah.
And how much money you're willing to pay for, what you think is guaranteed. And you kind of forget it, and there's a little bit, you kind of forget about what nature can do. But I don't really give a shit about that.
Kind of like buying your way into accomplishment.
Yeah. And what you're willing to risk, which at the end of the game, your life.
Yeah.
Which is kind of insane because the other aspect of it too is that this foolishness that you have as a person living in the world that we're in today, thinking that everything that you do is safe and that, there's little regard to like, if you were, hey, I'm going to pay you $100,000 to get me through the Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Like you guarantee that in 31 days we can trek 150 miles through the Amazon. And I won't get bit or die of hunger, and just to say, here's that cash, and blindly go in and have little self-doubt that you're not going to make it. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah, there's a certain arrogance about it for sure.
And to pay that much money for a sense of accomplishment, pretty much to hang up a trophy. At the second time I watched it, I was like, it's insane what humans will do, and kind of speaks where we come from. I mean, we were talking 120 years ago. You might have a cut and die out in the fucking, valley 15 miles away from a town, and here we are paying God knows how much cash to die in a mountain just so you can tell people you did it.
Yeah,
So that was the second time when I watched that. Definitely changed my view.
I've got an answer. The first time throwback, episode 1, the first time I watched Drive, I don't think I appreciated it as much as I do now because going into it, I was very much coming off like the high that is John Wick. I was very much expecting like a similar type movie. And I was even reading online like, hey, what are some movies that are similar to John Wick? And someone said, oh, you should check out Drive if you like John Wick. And so I went into it thinking that it was going to be like just this cool action movie, right?
Yeah.
And you watch it and it's got action in it, but that's not like the sole purpose of it. That's not like the whole picture. And so I'm watching this movie and I'm thinking, man, this is like really slow. It's like a lot of buildup, and it like is paced really weird. Like, I don't know if I like this. And so like I watched it and I was like, I don't know if I'll ever watch this again. Fast forward to like a year later, I'm like listening to like the soundtrack of the movie. It's like pretty much encompassed like a whole genre of music for me now. Yeah. And so I think to myself, all right, I got to give this another shot. So then I watch it again, showing somebody else, and I love it, even like especially like astoundingly more than I did the first time. Because like I watched it the first time, I didn't even love it. I don't even know if I liked it. And then the second time watching it, it's like now one of my favorite movies.
I'm telling you, you can have films that you saw the first time and you're like, man, that was pretty good, and then you watched it the second time and it completely changes. Like you go from like that was like a really solid film to another film like that for me, The Big Lebowski.
Okay.
You've yet to see it. That might be the next recommendation, because I think you like the Coen brothers' work. So that, but the first time I watched it, me and my brother watched it, and it was above our heads. I mean, like we were like 15, 16. I remember Sam was in a film class, and the teacher said, yeah, you should check out these films. So he brought it back. My parents didn't like it at all. They thought it was stupid, and me and him watched it. And we kind of laughed at the dumb stuff. Yeah. And then I think in my sophomore year in college, these guys that I used to hang out with, and we partied and whatnot. We one night we were talking about freaking The Big Lebowski. We were dying laughing. And like the next, I think like day or weekend or whatever, I go to hang out, they throw it on, and I was fucking rolling, dude. How many, there's so many like small jokes, hidden jokes in there, things that you don't pick up on the first time, just, callbacks. Anyways, that's another one. Okay. But I would, so I'm gonna actually say a tie between Everest and The Big Lebowski now that I think about it. Because The Big Lebowski, actually, I have a book in my freaking bathroom called The Dude Abides. My brother got it for me for Christmas. So,
all right. So next question.
Yeah.
If you could play one character in any film, who would it be? I will kind of let you answer this one. I can't think of anything right now, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I was kind of running through my head.
That's my answer. I don't know.
Well, I mean, yeah. You piece of shit. Why do you think of better questions?
Why are you asking me?
Yeah. Fuck you. That's who I'd be.
Go fuck yourself.
No, because the first thing that runs through your head is like your Schwarzeneggers of the world, your Tom Cruise, Carl Weathers. Like, do I want to be a big action star? I was trying to think of one that I like, Keanu Reeves and Chain Reaction is the cool kind of hip scientist that figures out the conspiracy. James Bond's always a classic.
So if you could play one character. For some reason in my head, I was thinking like, if you could be a character, I guess, instead of play. Because like I was trying to think of like what character in a movie has it like the easiest. Like what character has like the least amount of struggle, so I could like be that character and not have to struggle. But I guess like looking at the question now, I guess it's like, what would you personally like want to play in a movie? So
that's what I'm thinking. Okay. Yeah, I'm not really doing well. So like I'm thinking Schwarzenegger and Predator. Like that would be one. Well, the other aspect of it too is if I'm in that film, it's also everyday life. So it's like I come back from the jungle, I am now Schwarzenegger. I'm in LA, at 36 as, Arnold. I'm trying to remember his name. I can't remember his name from the film. Or like Tom Cruise, like Jack Reacher. Like you're Jack Reacher, like movie ends, you're still Jack Reacher. So it's kind of Last Action Hero-esque. Which is Arnold.
So now thinking about like the context of this question,
right?
And I don't know why I thought of this. This is a very like specific answer, but for some reason I think it'd be fun to play Oscar Isaac's character from Deus Ex Machina, or Ex Machina, excuse me, not Deus Ex Machina.
You better watch. Yeah,
that's the video game.
Yeah.
No, Oscar Isaac from Ex Machina, I feel like would be fun to play because he's such like a cracked out dude. Like
smartest guy in the world, most money in the world.
Yeah, and he's also like ripped.
Yeah,
and he's got like a shaved head with like a big beard, and
he just gets drunk every night and God knows what with those robots.
Yeah, but then he like plays mind games with Donald Gleason the whole time, and it's really like riveting to watch. I feel like that would be like a fun role to play. And then obviously like I think I would want to play like a character in the Matrix. I don't know if I'd want to be Neo, but maybe like I don't know, something like Morpheus or something. I think that'd be kind of cool. Just like I just want to be in that universe with like the action going on and stuff. I think that'd be cool.
Oh, dude, I already
just to like see it on the screen.
Yeah. I honestly, Brad Pitt, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh yeah.
Hang out with your best friend every day. You just, I mean, yeah, obviously you're there's no debt in your life. I mean, you're kind of living wherever you're at, but you're completely content with what's going on.
Yep.
You know, just driving around and you get high whenever you want. Just kind of like, you know.
Uh-huh.
Dude, and you're a backup. You get paid $50 to be in film, so you get to walk around Hollywood.
There's like no stress in your life whatsoever. You get to beat up Bruce Lee.
Yeah. Like, well, and so the reason I thought about it too, talking with friends, it's like the best scene in that film is when they're watching FBI. You imagine if your best friend was an actor, like you're just hanging out with them, and it's like, hey, check me out, there I am.
Hey, it's the meme where he's pointing at the TV.
There I am. Like and it's just you hanging out.
Yeah.
It's like, fucking like.
Yep, there you are, Rick.
Yeah. That would probably be it. I mean, I would do that, or I'd do like Schwarzenegger from Predator. I've said it. I've kind of alluded to it. Oh, actually, or Paxton from Twister.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd be the ex-wife from for Bill Paxton from Twister.
Oh, there we go. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one in the back seat.
Yeah.
Got it. Or no, wait, Helen Hunt.
Yeah, Helen Hunt.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we got one more question.
All right.
No, we got two more questions.
Let's hear it.
This one can be like a quick answer. What is
Maybe. You never know with these things, dude.
Well,
Q&A, we do Q&A again. We got to do like small, like 45-hour episode standalone.
Yeah.
I could do Q&A all day.
45-hour? Dang, that's a long episode.
It could be. We could set a Guinness World fucking record.
Longest podcast ever.
I wonder if that's a thing.
That's something we'll have to look up.
And
later.
that has little risk of death, but probably not a whole lot of accomplishment besides.
Yeah, the biggest thing you'll get is like maybe a sore back from sitting down the whole time.
Cottonmouth.
Yeah.
Dude, but it could lead to other things. We could do like a PBS
Scoliosis.
documentary.
Oh yeah, that too.
Oh. Yeah. No one really thinks about the health implications.
No one thinks about the health.
And that's what we talk about on our documentaries that eventually lead to biopics.
Yeah, 45-hour long documentary. Talking about the health side effects of talking about a 45-hour documentary.
We'll call it 45 hours.
Yeah.
And it'll just be us, and there will be a rock on here, and we'll like contrast it to Aaron Ralston's 127 hours. Just fuck that guy.
We'll show him.
Yeah.
We'll make our own sacrifice to our body. All right. This question can be answered pretty quickly.
Okay.
What is the best year for film? And I figured this would be a question that you could probably answer more than me because
I tried to look it up, dude. It's way too. I would say go off of whatever year you like the most movies.
I was gonna say I feel like you out of the two of us is more like varied when it comes to the span of film in terms of like the years that they've come out. Because I like a lot of movies, but a lot of the movies that I like have come out like past the year 2000. You're kind of more well versed in like the older stuff, I think. I honestly read this one and I had such a hard time because I started trying to figure out like, all right, my personal preference would have been what year probably had the biggest impact on me, right? But that, you're looking at like 2006 or 2007 or 2008, like what movies came out? Because a movie like Goodfellas. Now, if we were talking about when did you watch Goodfellas, because if I could rope that into like 2003,
or the first time like I got to appreciate Pulp Fiction and rope that into 2005.
Yeah.
I mean, so I had a hard time with this because it's like I'm not gonna say like you could say 78 or you could say 80 with so I didn't dive into it that much because I'm not that big of a like movie snob. Like I like movies that I've seen, but I also like I'm more appreciative of when I watched them where I was at than the year that the actual movie was made.
Right.
So
yeah, and I kind of have to agree. It's a little too. There's so many movies out now, and they're so varied in like when they've come out and like when we've watched them. Yeah. That it's really difficult to like pinpoint a specific year. Well, but I will say my answer is going to be 2003 because that's the year that the Daredevil movie came out, and it's the peak of cinema.
-10.
I actually haven't seen it, but I just for some reason that movie came up in my mind. So yeah, 2003, Daredevil. That's the best year.
You haven't seen Daredevil?
No.
Oh boy.
Max getting ideas.
Yeah. I just thought of 3 films right now that it's boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Actually, 2003 was probably actually pretty damn close because you had Daredevil, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
What year did Geely come out?
No. I don't know. I would do it off like the movies that like I really liked the most of like when they came. Honestly I don't know. You know what my answer would be? 2007.
Okay.
Only because There Will Be Blood and No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
Those were the 2 best films that those 2 movies right there in my top 10.
Okay.
And I don't think there's any other year that probably has 2 films in my top 10. So that's what I would go off of.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Maybe when I actually get to like how movies like influence politics or something where I could like really deep dive into the themes and what they were portraying and how they influence like pop culture and maybe like social movements. Mm-hmm. If I ever got to that, maybe then I could say like 1962. All right. But for right now, it's off of what I like the most. And I got 2 out of my top 10 in 2007. So
final answer. There we go.
Yeah.
We got
You haven't seen Daredevil?
No.
Bro.
No.
Bro.
No.
That's gonna be added to the list.
Okay.
So what's the next one?
The last question that we have is actually, you know what? I was reading this wrong. That was the last question.
What? There's gotta be one more. We did 10 already?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. There was only 9 questions. But yeah, we went through them all.
Who's the only one that only asked 4?
Your buddy Miles.
Miles, what the? Come on, man.
Come
on, all right. We appreciate
it
because you gave us 4 more questions than anyone else did.
That's true.
Shout out
to Drew and Miles. Thank you for asking those questions.
Miles has the same initials that I have, so I'll do a shout out to MP.
And Drew has the same initials as Alcoholics Anonymous, AA. So
wow. Wait, that doesn't make... Oh, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, his name is Andrew, but he goes by Drew.
I know some people that just have the apostrophe Drew.
Yeah. He loves going by Andy. That's for sure. Mm. So shout out to Andy. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed us reading your questions.
Yeah. Appreciate it, guys. That was awesome. I love a good Q&A sesh.
Me too. I think that went well. We'll have to do.
we had to grade it out right now. I'm already saying A+.
Yeah.
All right.
If we had to rate it, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. All right. I get to make a film pick.
Whoa!
Hell absolutely. Yeah. And I've got like a small list accumulating that's getting bigger by the episode because I think of more movies that I'd like to talk about. But I do have one specific one that I have my mind set on.
The Big Lebowski. Good choice.
Boy, oh boy, are you going to be disappointed.
Uh-oh. No. Not a Coen brother?
Not a Coen brother.
What year?
1988.
1988. Director?
Hold on. Let me... Your head's going to spin when I read you the director.
Trolls 2.
I'm going to try to pronounce this. Katsuhiro Otomo. Katsuhiro Otomo.
Okay.
That's the director. It is an animated film. Japanese animated film.
Oh.
Came out in 1988 called Akira. that I've been wanting to check out.
Okay.
It is one of the like first anime style like movies to like kind of set that sort of I mean I'm saying it again in the same sentence, but style for like movies to come out after it.
Right.
It's like a cyberpunk sort of action science fiction movie.
Sure.
And that's pretty much all I'm going to say because I don't really know much else about it. I just know that I really want to see it because it looks like it'd be my type of thing, and I want to talk about it.
There we go.
And I figured we'd get an animated movie in there somehow. So
yeah. Akira.
So Akira is the film I'm picking for next episode to talk about.
There we go.
So yeah, if you don't want to be spoiled for Akira 1988, be sure to watch that before you watch our next episode. You can find us, Neon Crew Podcast, on YouTube if you search us up. We've got 16 subscribers.
Hey!
So be sure to subscribe. And you can find us on Spotify, too, if you look us up there.
Hard enough, yeah.
Yep. If you're on Facebook, give us a follow on there.
Hey, are we moving up in the polls on Spotify?
I haven't checked in a bit.
No?
Yeah, I have to look back into that.
You gotta see those metrics.
Yeah, I gotta check those numbers, baby.
Data mine.
But also exciting news is that we actually are gonna have a website soon.
Yeah.
So
boy howdy.
When that goes live, I will make a post on the social media, and you can check us out there.
Let's just make an app.
That would be a whole new endeavor.
We'll just make a Neon Crew app.
Oh yeah, the Neon Crew app.
Yeah, and
down the road.
And then we talk about the movies and we post it, and then or we could just do that now on the website.
That's true. Yeah, which I have plans for. So
yeah. Oh geez, don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah. I don't want to give
blueprints.
I don't want to give too much away, but
it's in the fucking safe, guys. Quit pestering them.
Yeah, stop asking us all these questions. Damn, the hell is wrong with you? Who do you think you are?
Yeah. People.
Running around leaving scars. Collecting your jars of hearts.
What?
Tearing love apart. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Episode 7. All right. Excited to bring you episode 8 soon. All right. You guys have a good one.
Yeah. Hey, remember. WWTHD.
I'm going to have to turn that up so much in post.
No, just let them guess.